choice and gives it to somebody else, the company, the boss, the stock market, the economy, and a whole host of others. People don't choose to be poor. They make poor decisions that slowly assembles into a poorness puzzle. Retrace the footprints to poverty, and it happens slowly, systematically, and methodically under a steady diet of poor choices. For example, the choice to cheat on your exams or study. The choice to squander college because your parents paid for it. The choice to lie or be honest. The choice to drive without insurance. The choice to befriend bad people over good people. The choice to watch TV or read a book. The choice to drive 100 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. The choice to rob the corner convenience store. The choice to overindulge in food or liquor. The choice to believe in people with no track record. The choice to cheat on your significant other. The choice to buy on credit. The choice to get high every weekend. The choice to hire a contractor without a background check. The choice to play video games 30 hours a week. The choice to get married after 4 weeks of dating. The choice to go into business with incompetent partners. The road to treason is always open. I always loved a good street race. Having owned a variety of juiced-up Vipers, confrontation was standard. One summer evening, after a few drinks, I let my ego take over and I street raced. I overthrottled, spun out of control, and crossed into oncoming traffic and crashed into a palm tree. By the time it was over, the new occupant in my Viper's passenger seat was the trunk of a 30-foot date palm. I was arrested, taken to jail, and charged with DUI and reckless endangerment. Luckily, I didn't kill anyone or myself. In fact, the arresting officer, who witnessed the entire race, brilliant, huh, stated that had the impact been driver's side versus passenger side, I would have been killed. I survived a life-or-death coin flip. In reflection, my choice to race was a treasonous choice. Treasonous choices are actions that do irreparable harm to your life, your dreams, and your goals. The consequences of treasonous choices throw life onto unintended detours and hazardous roads that are difficult to escape and oftentimes become permanent. Had I killed someone, I would have spent years in jail, spent half my fortune on lawyers, and had to live with the painful reality that I stole someone's life. Life would have been instantly transformed with new circumstances unveiled. No amount of money can keep you from prison or purge your soul from the foolish horror of taking someone's life. Treasonous choices change your life forever.
Jack finances his dream home and takes on an $800,000 mortgage, although he only makes $65,000 a year. Due to loose credit and an exploding housing market, he accepts the loan. He doesn't read the documents and assumes his mortgage lender has his best interests at heart. 18 months later, his interest rate adjusts upward and he can't afford the mortgage, forcing him into foreclosure. His poor credit haunts him for 12 years. He can't qualify for a new mortgage, and potential business opportunities go untapped.
A fast-lane millionaire by age 28, Andre has everything. A beautiful wife, money, a healthy baby daughter, and 7 restaurants scattered across the 5 boroughs. Andre is on top of the world. One night after a few drinks to celebrate his night manager's birthday, Andre drives home drunk. He chooses to think, I'm okay. On his way home, he gets into an accident and kills a family of 4. Andre is arrested for drunk driving, and after his conviction, he spends the next 11 years of his life in prison. He loses his businesses and his family. Andre's life forever changed because of multiple treasonous choices. The choice to drink, the choice to drive, the choice to think, I'm okay. The series of choices is plentiful. His exit strategy is clear. He didn't choose wisely. Recent events from the sports pages illustrate the gravity of treason. Football player Michael Vick engaged in criminal activity and it reshaped his life. His legacy, if you call it that, will never be the same. He lost respectability in 2 years of his life. He made multiple choices that started with the choice to commiserate with derelicts engaged in criminal activity. Another football player made a choice and it cost him his life. He'd never guessed that cheating on your wife could end so tragically. It did for Steve McNair when his mistress allegedly shot him to death in a Nashville, Tennessee condo. While he didn't choose to be murdered, he chose to pursue the woman. He chose the relationship. He chose to cheat. He chose to act. You see, we aren't talking about one choice here, but many, and that made him complicit to the treason. Steve McNair's choices loaded the gun, but someone else pulled the trigger. Your life's steering wheel is a dangerous weapon. 3 inches is all it takes. Jerk your life's wheel 3 tiny inches while speeding, and you can steer your life onto a path of no return, or worse, smack into a concrete wall. Like an automobile's steering wheel, your choices are super sensitive. Unfortunately, treasonous roads always have a green light. People drown in the misery of their own choices while neglecting to acknowledge they are the cause. What's chosen today impacts forever. You'll see. You'll see is my mother's code for I'm right, you're wrong, and time will uncover that truth. As a rebellious teen, Mom lobbed a "you'll see" at me after she surrendered to my pleadings for an off-road motorcycle. Mother didn't like the idea and levied her missive. "You'll see." It didn't take long for that "you'll see" to come true. Full of testosterone, cocky, and invincible, a 15-year-old kid with no motorcycle experience gambled with his life. I crashed on a dirt road going 50 miles an hour and broke my wrist, my 2 fingers, I lost nerves in my knee, and I screwed up my neck. While the bones healed, the full array of consequences from that day has not dissipated. Decades later, I live with chronic neck pain and have to sleep in unorthodox positions just to avoid discomfort. I've spent countless hours and money on physical therapy and chiropractic treatments. Many times I fantasize about going back in time to that day and bitch-slapping that arrogant kid. I wish I could tell him how things are. I wish I could tell him to read this chapter. I wish he would understand the trajectory or the horsepower of his choices. Our choices have consequences that transcend decades. This transcendence is horsepower. Every time my discomfort reminds me of that fateful day when I chose poorly. And today, I'm still paying for the mortgage of that choice, a mortgage that never amortizes. The butterfly effect. Can you make a choice this instant that can forever alter the trajectory of your future? You can, and it can be the difference between poverty and wealth. When you make minor permutations or choices that deviate from your initial conditions, profound effects transpire over time. Think of it like a golf club striking a golf ball. When the club face hits the ball square, the ball goes straight and heads toward the hole. But when the club face is rotated a minor fraction of 1 degree, the ball's trajectory lands far off course. At impact, the divergence is minor, but as the ball travels further and further, it widens and widens until the gap is so large that getting back on track is nearly impossible. A bad choice can set your trajectory off by 1 degree today, but over the years, the error is magnified. Choices have this type of divergence over time, and it's called impact differential. When your choices are extrapolated throughout the years, the divergence widens. The divergence can be either positive or negative. For example, when I moved to Phoenix from Chicago, the impact differential exploded as time passed. Had I not made that choice, my life would be significantly different today. I also chose to get a dead-end job as a limo driver, which opened my eyes to a business need. That too was a choice that had extraordinary horsepower and created positive impact differential. The 2003 movie The Butterfly Effect, starring Ashton Kutcher, is a great film that excellently illustrates choice horsepower. In the movie, the main characters engaged in treasonous choices as youngsters, and you get to witness how each life unfolds as those treasonous choices permeate through time. You get to see the impact differential. Recognize that every day you make decisions that will ripple through the years. The question is, will your choice ripple to happiness and wealth, or depression and poverty? The erosion of horsepower. Your choices have significant trajectory into the future, and the younger you are, the more horsepower they exude. Unfortunately, horsepower fades with age. If this is confusing, think about it in terms of an asteroid that is on a collision course with Earth. When an asteroid is millions of miles out at space, representing your youthful choices, a simple 1 degree change in trajectory will save the Earth from destruction. This is the power of horsepower. Now for us older folks, the asteroid is closer to Earth and closer to our death, which weakens the potency of our choices. A 1 degree change isn't as effective, and for the same potency, it needs to be 10 degrees. When you are under 25, you have maximum horsepower, and your choices discharge an incredible amount of firepower. A simple choice I made more than 20 years ago is still felt today. That's a lot of torque. If you reflect on your choices, you make them in an instant, and yet their consequences transcend a lifetime, especially the ones made early in life. Your life's choices are like a mature oak tree with millions of branches. The branches symbolizes the consequences of your choices. Near the trunk of the tree, the branches are thick, reflecting the decisions you've made early in life, while the top branches are thin, symbolizing decisions near the end of your life. Youthful choices radiate the most strength and fabricate the trunk of your tree. As the branches ascend topside through time, they get thinner and weaker. You don't have enough power to bend the tree in new directions because the trunk is thick with age, experience, and reinforced habits. My motorcycle crash had significant horsepower because I feel it today. If you're unmarried with 5 kids by age 23, where do you think the branches of your choice tree will lead? How thick and unbendable is your choice tree? If you skip classes and are drunk for 4 years in college, how will that ripple through your choice tree? If your best friend is a drug dealer, where will that branch lead?
At age 16 for a school prank, David ignites a smoke bomb in the school bus and 14 children suffer smoke inhalation. Fortunately, those children recovered quickly, but David's 10-day stay in juvenile detention forever propels David's life down a different path. David meets Rudy, who teaches David the rules of the perfect burglary. This relationship forges David's new career choice, thievery. After avoiding the law for 7 years, David is caught, convicted, and sentenced to 9 years in prison.
Had David not met Rudy, where would he be? A fireman? A banker? Choice and its horsepower transcend.
At age 17 and against her parents' wishes, Alyssa, an honor student, leaves home to live with a 31-year-old man she met at a local bar 4 months earlier. Her boyfriend introduces her to crystal meth, and what initially started as a funny experiment becomes a life-consuming addiction. Alyssa resorts to illegal activities to support her habit, including stealing from her parents. Her reckoning occurs when she is caught at the local mall stealing and sentenced to 3 years in jail and state-mandated rehabilitation.
Had Alyssa listened to her parents, where would she be today? Choice and its horsepower transcend. The smallest choices made in your life create habits and lifestyle that forms process. They are the ones that can make the biggest impact. You can't decide to go Fastlane because that itself is just an event. A Fastlane process is hundreds of choices. Regardless of age, reflect on your life and analyze the forks in the road and where those forks have taken you. The forks are choices, both large and small, and each shares the common thread of having the magnificent power to take you somewhere different. Whatever you decide today impacts tomorrow, weeks, months, years, decades, and yes, generations. If you're younger than 30 years old, your choices right now are at peak horsepower because they are growing the thick branches of your choice tree. It's time to put the pedal to the metal. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. The leading cause of poorness is poor choices. The steering wheel of your life is your choices. You are exactly where you chose to be. Success is hundreds of choices that form process. Process forms lifestyle. Choice is the most powerful control you have in your life. Treasonous choices forever impact your life negatively. Your choices have significant horsepower or trajectory into the future. The younger you are, the more potent your choices and the more horsepower you possess. Over time, horsepower erodes as the consequences of old choices are thick and hard to bend. Chapter 24. Wipe your windshield clean. Until we see what we are, we cannot take steps to become what we should be. Charlotte P. Gilman. Wipe your windshield clean. While pumping gas into my Lamborghini, a teenager once asked me if he could snap some pictures. Sure, go ahead, I replied. After a few various rants and raves about the car, he exclaimed, I gotta get as many pictures as possible, cause I'll never be able to afford one of these. Do you see a problem in that conclusion? This young man made a choice to believe he will never own a Lamborghini. He couldn't see beyond his own windshield. Is this a small choice? A treasonous choice? A choice of significant horsepower? This seemingly innocent choice of perception has the excruciating horsepower of treason. It's a crippler of dreams. The teen's choice of perception was poor, and because of it, it will forever lead him to mediocre results. His jury has already deliberated, and the verdict was in. An extravagant car will always be out of his league, and therefore his choices will reflect that mindset. Unfortunately, he didn't understand the debilitating effect of being clouded to our own self-constructed windshield into the world. The choice of perception. In the last chapter, we discussed choices and their impact on your life. Thus far, it's all been about choices of action, physical actions which produces consequences. However, if you look deeper, what causes those actions? What motivates you to act and to choose? We have two types of choices. Number one, the choices of perception, thought patterns, and number two, choices of action, like choosing to read. Choices of perception serve as the impetus to your choices of action. If you believe and perceive a certain idea, you're likely to act in accordance to that belief. The difference between the teen at the gas station and me was this. When I witnessed my first Lamborghini as a kid, I thought, someday I'm going to own one of those. My choice of perception was strong and further manifested itself into choices of action that reflected that perception. You see, you choose to interpret events in your particular frame of reference. Your mind labels and categorizes events that surround you. For example, when someone says dog, you might see a black Labrador while other people see a poodle. When you see a mansion on the beach, do you think, that guy's lucky, or I'll never own something like that? The first step in making better choices starts with your choice of perception, because your actions evolve from those perceptions. If you lose your job, you can frame it as a negative or a positive. When you're caught speeding, you can be angry or thankful. The choice of perception and its choices start right between your ears and drive themselves into choices of action. Your perception is not the reality. A few years ago, my girlfriend and I were at a friend's home for a party. We sat at a small table and noticed an overly exuberant gentleman moving from table to table talking to people. He looked like he was canvassing the room as if he was selling something. Well, guess what? He was. He eventually got to our table and unleashed the uncouth, "Hey, how would you like to earn $10,000 a month?" The question was inappropriate for the party, so I decided to respond with equal inappropriateness. I asked him, $10,000 a month, really? Thinking I was hooked, he tried to sell me on some network marketing opportunity for some herbal supplement. I interrupted him and laughed. "Listen, I make about $10,000 every few days, so for me your opportunity would be a 90% pay cut. Do you think I'm interested?" His eyes popped out of their sockets, and after he picked them off the table, he scampered away like a rat without his cheese. In this brief exchange, this man made an assumption. $10,000 is a lot of money. It isn't. Money is infinite. Fastlane opportunists can drive opportunities that yield 6 and 7 figures monthly. The difference is perception. I remember the day when I thought $10,000 was a lot of money. It was a perception and not reality. Earning $1 million in 1 month is possible if you make the right choices and drive the right Fastlane roads. This perception leads to better choices of action. That guy at the party? He chose a crowded road. Instead of creating a multi-level marketing company, he joined one. Instead of serving the masses to affection, he joined the masses. Wiping the windshield clean starts with language. You can expose your mindset by examining the words in your language and your thoughts. Take, for example, this comment made on the Fastlane forum.
I got engaged last Friday. I had been struggling with this for some time, but decided to give marriage one more try. She's a great girl and deserves the best, and I think I can give it to her.
When you read this statement, do you see assured success or pending failure? While I wish the man the best marriage, I see flaccid words that lack confidence. Try, I think. This language spells trouble. What would have convinced me otherwise?
I got engaged last Friday. I had been struggling with this for some time, but decided to get married for the last time. She's a great girl and deserves the best, and I will give it to her.
Notice the difference. One is flimsy and the other is firm. Both might seem to say the same thing, but one implies possible failure while the other implies committed success. Your internal language carries weight. If a brain surgeon told you before surgery, "I think I can operate on you and I will try to succeed," you should freak out and trade in your hospital gown for some eternal nighties. Altering your words and thought perceptions are akin to wiping your windshield clean and seeing beyond your own sphere of sight. How do you manage your choice of perception? What language do you use in your mind? "I never," "I can't," "if only." Or do you choose better words? "It's possible," "I'll overcome," "I will," "I can." If your world is canvassed with words like never and can't, guess what? It's true. You can't and you never will. Is it possible to earn $1 million in 1 month? Sure it is. Just go ask the guy who does it. What makes his windshield different from yours? Good choices of perception translate into good choices of action. To change your perception is to change your future actions. The goal of this book is to change your perception about wealth and money. Believe that retirement at any age is possible. Believe that old age is not a prerequisite to wealth. Believe that a job is just as risky as a business. Believe that the stock market isn't a guaranteed path to riches. Believe that you can be retired just a few years from today. So how do you upload new beliefs and overwrite the old ones? Find the information, resources, and the people that align with the new beliefs. For myself, I pursued the stories of those who acquired wealth fast and soon learned that get rich quick wasn't a myth. I never found that 19-year-old who got rich piling money into mutual funds. However, I did find 24-year-old millionaire inventors, business founders, authors, and website owners. If you want extraordinary results, you're going to need extraordinary thinking. Unfortunately, extraordinary is not found trapped in society's gravity of thinking and the beliefs that fuel them. Steering tips, better choices, and a better life. As your journey progresses, respect yourself and ask, is this a good choice of perception? A good choice of action? Is this going to be treasonous to my dreams and cloud my windshield to a better life? Have I chosen to be a victim or a victor? Have I chosen to surrender or to accept the challenge? Changing your life starts with changing choices. The Fastlane vehicle to wealth is driven on choice, not asphalt. You start making better choices using two strategies dependent on the decision's gravity. Number 1, worst case consequence analysis, or WCCA. Number 2, weighted average decision matrix, or WADM. Worst case consequence analysis is designed to steer you away from perilous detours and treasonous choices. Conversely, weighted average decision matrix is designed to help you make better big decisions with multiple contingencies. This dual-prong attack works on the choice extremes, a prevention of disastrous choices and a facilitator of good choices. Worst case consequence analysis. The first decision tool is worst case consequence analysis, or WCCA, which requires you to become forward-thinking and an analyzer of potential consequences. WCCA asks you to answer 3 questions about every decision of consequence. Number 1, what is the worst case consequence of this choice? Number 2, what is the probability of this outcome? Number 3, is this an acceptable risk? While these 3 questions might seem lengthy, your analysis process shouldn't take longer than a few seconds. You don't need a paper and a pen, just your head and a conscious choice of perception. When choices are analyzed using WCCA, potential disasters are exposed and alternatives can be chosen. Unnecessary roads of treason can be bypassed. I use WCCA extensively. For example, several years ago, after several drinks at a local bar, I went home with a woman who was making the moves on me and wanted to get busy. She pulled the old Harlequin whisper, "Make love to me." Of course, having known her for all but 2 hours, I knew this wasn't love, but something else. Behind my drunken passion, I ran through the WCCA analysis. What is the worst case outcome of this choice? Number 1, I could get a sexually transmitted disease. Number 2, I could get her pregnant and be locked into this person for the rest of my life. Number 3, I could be falsely accused of rape. What is the probability of these outcomes? Number 1, the STD probability is probably about 10%. That was based on her outward promiscuity. The number 2 consequence, pregnancy, was probably only about 1%. The number 3 probability, being falsely accused, was about slim and none, or roughly 0.1%. Now, are these acceptable risks? I immediately reasoned, hell no. The 10% or the 1%, I reasoned the risk was just too great and that the risk had outcomes that could change my life forever. I denied the woman's advances and hid my lust in favor of a better choice. Now what if I hadn't? Sure, I would have enjoyed a quick romp of fun, but what about afterwards? Would I be put in a position of an unplanned pregnancy with a woman I really didn't know? Would I be condemned with a disease that would further jeopardize my health and limit my search for a future partner? The potential consequences of this action had profound treasonous trajectories, which I avoided. Worst case consequence analysis comes into play when I drive. Viper, Lamborghini, doesn't matter. Other idiot drivers looking for a street race constantly harass me. Sure, I might hit the accelerator hard for 3 seconds, but in those 3 seconds, WCCA takes over. What's the worst that could happen? I could kill myself and somebody else. Odds? I don't know, 3%? Knowing my racing competency, the risks are dangerously high. I release the accelerator and don't engage. The other driver? He speeds away with something to prove and in total disregard to the consequences. That's okay. Maybe there's a reason why he's driving a 10-year-old fart can Honda and I'm in the Lamborghini. He can win the street race. I'll win life. The Weighted Average Decision Matrix, or WADM. Ever wrestle with a tough decision? One day you favor option A and the next day you flounder back to option B? Wouldn't it be great if making a tough decision was as simple as picking a higher number? The second decision tool I use compares and quantifies big decisions. You know them. Should you move or stay? Quit or continue? Go back to college or not? For WADM, you just need a paper and a pencil. Or alternatively, you can visit helpmydecision.com and let the web work the calculation for you. Now keep in mind, WADM is for big decisions, so you might use this a few times, where WCCA can be used daily. With WADM, decision-making is easy as it isolates and prioritizes factors relevant to your decision and then quantifies each decision with a value. The higher value reflects the better decision. For example, if you had a choice between moving to Detroit or Phoenix, WADM would yield a simple numerical valuation like Detroit 88 and Phoenix 93. Based on the number, Phoenix is the better choice. While WADM is subjective and requires your unfettered objectivity, it is a great tool for identifying which choice is more favorable to your preferences. To use WADM, a minimum of 2 choices are needed, but it could be used for more. Let's say you do indeed live in Detroit and are considering moving to Phoenix. You struggle with the decision and can't get clarity. One day you want to move and the next day you want to stay. Usually this waffling occurs because there are too many decision factors within each choice. Get a pencil and paper. Make 3 columns on your paper, one headed factors, and each of the other 2 for choice, Detroit and Phoenix. Second, what decision factors are important in your decision? Weather, schools, cost of living, being near family. Write down all factors relevant to the decision, no matter how small. Write these factors in the factor column. Thirdly, next to each decision factor, weight its importance to the decision from 1 through 10, with 10 being the most important. For example, you are seasonally depressed, so weather is assigned a 10 in your matrix. Subsequently, your children are almost 18, so you decide that a school system isn't a top priority and it receives a 3. Do this for all factors. After each criterion is ranked 1 through 10, grade each choice 1 through 10 for each decision factor. The school system in Detroit, you give it a 4. In Phoenix, you give the school system a 5, as you determine it's a little bit better. You assign entertainment in Detroit an 8, as they are home to your mighty Red Wings, while Phoenix gets a 6. Continue to do this for each decision factor within each choice. Next, for each row, multiply the weight times the grade and put that number next to the grade in parentheses. For example, in the entertainment row, Detroit receives a 40, 8 weight times 50 grade, while Phoenix receives a 16, 8 weight times 2 grade. Do this for all rows. The final step is simply to add up all the graded weight columns to get your final number for each choice. The number will be your choice that you favor. In this hypothetical example, you would stay in Detroit because it received a higher score, 232 over 228. The WADM is a great tool for making big decisions, as long as you are perfectly honest with the factor weighting. I've used WADM many times in my life to bring clarity to tough decisions. It proved I needed to move to Phoenix, it offered insight into why it was time to sell my business, and even steered me clear of some bad business investments. In 2005, I had an opportunity to invest in a Las Vegas restaurant. After I completed my due diligence to the opportunity and the founders, it was time to make a decision, but I couldn't decide. I solved the decision paralysis with the WADM analysis, and it indicated that I should turn the investment down. I did. A little over a year later, I discovered this investment turned south and that the investors lost most of their money. The matrix gave me clarity to decision ambiguity and saved me from losing $125,000. If you examine a map of the country, you'll find millions of roadways, freeways, streets, avenues, and boulevards, all leading somewhere different. Your choices unearth these roads, and there are either impressive shortcuts or perilous detours. These two decision tools are navigational tools for your wealth journey. Get your eyes off the rear-view mirror. Today is the starting line for the rest of your life. Yes, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. The problem with the past is that we remember memories we shouldn't, and we don't forget what we should. If your eyes are stuck in the rearview mirror, you're stuck in the past. And if you're stuck in the past, you're not looking ahead. If you're not looking ahead, you can't hit the mark of your future. The universe doesn't care about your past. It's blind to it. The universe doesn't care that I wore pink pants in high school. Hey now, come on, remember Miami Vice? The universe doesn't care that I got in a fight with Francis Franken and lost. The universe doesn't care about your MBA from UCLA, your drug-dealing father, or that you wet your bed in junior high. The universe simply doesn't care. One person and only one person only weaponizes past transgressions. You. If the universe doesn't remember, why should you? Being the youngest of 3 siblings, you can bet I was the subject of some vile comments. Fat, stupid, you name it. However, just because my brother called me an idiot for 12 years doesn't make it my reality. Your past never equals your future unless you allow it. Think about a coin flip. No matter how many times the coin is flipped, the next flip is always random. Probability cannot be attached to a future flip based on the past. And yet, your past is exactly the same. Just because you failed at 5 relationships doesn't mean your next one will fail, especially if you learn from them. Just because you flipped burgers 3 hours ago doesn't mean you can't be a millionaire next year. The universe forgets, just like the universe forgot I mopped floors and delivered pizza not so long ago. Is your memory treasonous? Your memories have the same makeup as your choices. They're treasonous, muted, or accelerative. Unlike choices consequences, you have a choice how your past is classified. The records of the past can be sealed. For example, if you lost your life savings in a restaurant franchise that went bankrupt soon after you invested, your memory could be either accelerative or treasonous. Your memory and its perception could be, business ownership is a big risk, I'll never do that again. Or, next time I'm going to be selling franchises, not buying them. The former is treasonous, while the latter is accelerative. You have a choice in framing failure and framing the past. It either serves or hinders. When I reflect on my own failures, I let them serve me to affect future change. It's a part of the responsibility accountability process. What did I learn? What can I change in the future? What should I forget? After I crashed my Viper and nearly killed myself, I remember the haze of almost losing everything. I didn't want to repeat those feelings, and their memories served my future to affect change. Street racing is for morons. Alternatively, I could allow ego to reign, keep street racing and boast, I'll never lose another race again. While the consequences of our choices can't be manipulated, you can manipulate your memories to serve you. My life is not defined by being picked last in high school gym class. If your past defines your existence, it will be impossible for you to become the person you need to become in the future. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. Your choices of action manifest from your choices of perception. What you choose to perceive or not perceive will manifest itself to a choice of action or inaction. You can change your choice of perception by aligning yourself with those who experience the perception as reality. Worst-case consequence analysis helps you avoid treasonous choices. The weighted average decision matrix can help you make better big decisions by clarifying alternatives and their internal factors. The universe has no memory, only you do. Your past can be accelerative or treasonous. You choose the classification. If your eyes are transfixed to the past, you can't become the person you need to become in the future. Chapter 25. Deodorize Flatulent Headwinds. Ridicule is the tribute paid to the genius by the mediocrities. Oscar Wilde. The Fastlane's Natural Headwind. The greatest invention of mankind was the airplane because it defied the natural force of gravity and seemingly violated the laws of physics. How could something so heavy float in the air? What made Orville and Wilbur Wright's achievement so spectacular wasn't the act of flying, but the act of breaking free from society's gravitational pull. Flying is impossible. You guys are nuts. "You are wasting your time. Foolish." Before they could even pursue flying, the Wright brothers had to break free of society's natural headwind, the natural social conditioning that impregnates all young minds. A member of the Fastlane forum posted this:
Go into kindergarten class and ask the kids how many of them can sing. Every hand will go up. Fast forward 13 years and ask the same class of seniors the same question. Only a few hands will go up. What changed? The kindergarten kids believed they could sing because no one had told them otherwise.
Perfectly stated. We must not hear the naysayers because they've been conditioned by society. Society will grind a constant headwind at the grill of your vehicle. You can't worry about deviating from social norms because the norm is to be two average results produced by average people. You'll need to adopt an uncommon approach that doesn't fall in the favor of everyone. The more uncanny and exceptional you strive to be, the more you need to fight through social indoctrination. Extraordinary wealth will require you to have extraordinary beliefs. Turn your back to farting headwinds. If you turn your back to a headwind, it becomes an accelerant. I had to do this, otherwise I would have failed. After graduating from college, I was expected to find a good job. I didn't, and instead, I dove into entrepreneurial ventures. My family thought I was crazy and proclaimed, "You're wasting a 5-year education." Peers thought I was delusional. Oh dear, delivering pizzas and chauffeuring limousines while 2 business degrees hung from the wall? Women wouldn't date me because I broke the professional, college-educated mold the fairy tale espoused. Going fast lane and building momentum will require you to turn your back at the people who fart headwinds in your direction. You have to break free of society's gravitational force and their expectations. If you aren't mindful to this natural gravity, life can denigrate into a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle, which is society's prescription for normal. You know how it is. Get up, go to work, come home, eat, watch a few episodes of Law & Order, go to bed, then repeat, day after day. Before you know it, 45 years have passed and you need another 25 just to make your financial plan work. Time passes, dreams die, and what remains? An old, withered body, forlorn for what could have been. So, who farts headwinds? They are, number 1, friends and family who just don't get it. Number 2, educational institutions that preach slow lane dogma. Number 3, parents who are conditioned to believe that, wealth is for other people. Number 4, slow lane gurus who claim that your house is the best investment. Number 5, slow lane gurus who say $100 invested today will be worth $10 million in 50 years. Number 6, your environment. Escaping human headwind bloviators. People who don't empower your goals are human headwind bloviators. They add friction to the journey. When you spot excitement over your actions or ideas, bloviators react with doubt and disbelief and use conditioned talking points such as, that won't work, or somebody is already doing it, or why bother? In motivational circles, they call them dream stealers. You must turn your back on them. Every entrepreneur has bloviators in their life. These people are normal obstacles to the Fastlane road trip. Remember, these people have been socially conditioned to believe in the preordained path. They don't know about the Fastlane, nor do they believe it. Anything outside of that box is foreign. And when you talk Fastlane, you might as well be speaking Klingon. As a producer, you are the minority, or the consumers of the rest. To be unlike everyone who isn't rich, and you, who will be rich, requires a strong defense. Otherwise, their toxicity infects your mindset. Commiserating with habitual, negative, limited thinkers is treasonous. Uncontrolled, these headwinds lead directly to the couch and the video game console. Yes, the old, if you hang out with dogs, you're gonna get fleas. This relationship makes you a blossoming flower that needs protection, water, and plenty of sun. Negative friends, families, or coworkers are dark clouds. Defend yourself or suffer the consequence of slow assimilation to mediocrity. Escaping environmental headwinds. While you might be able to redirect human-originated headwinds, environmental factors aren't so easily controlled. What are environmental headwinds? For me, it was Chicago. I was seasonally depressed and I needed sun for motivation. Chicago was my hurricane force headwind, and if I wanted success, I needed to turn my back. I escaped and moved to one of the sunniest places on the planet. Had I not turned my back to the environmental headwind, this book would not exist. Where would I be today if I hadn't turned my back to the tornado? I know I wouldn't have been here, happy and retired 30 years early. Nope, I'd be on the Kennedy Expressway, fighting traffic and probably strung out on antidepressants. I'll pass. I made a choice to turn my environmental headwind into a tailwind. While I can't blame all my problems on my environment, they enforced this disconnect between interest in wealth and commitment. Another headwind could be your work environment. If your hated job drains the life out of you, it's a headwind. After a long workday and you have nothing left for your dreams and your Fastlane plan, you're done. The headwind keeps you trapped. While growing up, one of the successful entrepreneurs I studied was Sylvester Stallone. While Sly is thought to be an actor, he's really an entrepreneur. His Rocky screenplay was his product that touched millions, and he sold it under a specific set of circumstances, which included the provision that he play the lead role. Sly was no stranger to the law of affection. One of the telling elements of Sly's success story was his resistance to getting a normal job. He mentioned that if he'd taken a corporate job, his dream would have died because he knew the gravity of a job was inescapable for him. He recognized that a corporate environment would have been a headwind. If your environment puts a stiff headwind in your face, you must take active steps to remove yourself from the headwind. What headwinds are keeping you from pursuing your dreams? Take control and make choices that can alter the trajectory of your life. Creating accelerative wins. My headwind was my environment. For you, it might be negative friends or other slow lane influences. When you turn your back on these people, you break the headwind. When you associate with people who empower your goals, you create a wind at your back and build momentum. Positive people nurture your growth, soothe your failures, and invest in your dreams. Good people are conduits to your dreams, not just in motivational fuel, but in extending your opportunity reach. People are like roads. They can either bring opportunity or distress into your life. The quality of these roads solely depends on the quality of the person. Think of the relationships in your life like an army platoon readying for battle. Who are you going to war with? Your friend Mark, who's always late, lies, and passes out drunk every Saturday night? Or your friend Lucy, who has a new job every 3 weeks and was caught stealing at the mall and is only looking for that super rich guy to carry her off into the sunset? Are these people you can count on? Are these people you can go to battle with? If not, you need to pick better warriors on your team. How? Join entrepreneur clubs, attend networking events, ally yourself with like-minders, get yourself around people who subscribe to a Fastlane, anything is possible mindset, and decide who you want on your team of warriors. Read books and autobiographies of those who have the kind of success you want. Find a mentor. Join entrepreneur forums with a Fastlane mindset, like the Fastlane forum. Not a week goes by when someone doesn't email me, "This forum has changed my life." Now that's a tailwind. Folks, this is war, and your life is in the balance. You need warriors who are impervious to the Death Star and can deactivate the slow lane tractor beam, not fearful pansies who drop their cargo at the first sign of Imperial slow laners. Reflect on your environment and your relationships and recognize what the headwinds are. Then choose accelerative action. Can these headwinds be removed, ignored, or managed? Unlike the natural wind, you are the arbiter of your headwinds. Success follows those who break the headwind and put it at their back. Significant other or significant distraction. The worst headwind can be the person who sits in the passenger seat of your vehicle. They sit and lecture you on your dumb ideas and remind you of your failures. Or they don't say anything at all and just distract you. They fiddle with the radio, adjust the climate control, roll the windows up and down, and hum old Duran Duran tunes. Or they just play the role of backseat driver. Charles, do this, do that. No, turn there, dummy. What possibly could be so hazardous to your trip? And who is this person? How the heck did they get in your car? This person is your significant other. By talking with other aspiring entrepreneurs, I learned that significant others, husbands, wives, fiancés, girlfriends, boyfriends, can be some of the biggest headwinds out there. Having a life partner who doesn't subscribe to your life ideals and philosophies is like towing a trailer full of wet manure. If your partner doesn't subscribe to the entrepreneurial philosophy and tows the slow lane road, can you expect to grow in unison? Someone fighting with you in your corner is accelerative. If they serve as opposition, they become treasonous. One of my first girlfriends was A+ marriage material, but she fully subscribed to a slow lane philosophy. She couldn't understand why I was so fervent to be an entrepreneur. Our relationship stagnated as my failures grew, and the relationship eventually ended. This occurrence wasn't either one of our faults. We were just two different people on two different paths. Bad relationships are roadblocks to Fastlane success. They drain energy and they dim dreams. It's like rowing a boat upstream. Unwilling passengers add weight, they distract, and sometimes they're expensive to remove. Yes, divorce is treasonous, expensive, both emotionally and financially. Traveling down the road less traveled is already difficult. Why compound the journey by weighting the car down with someone who doesn't share your destination? Are you in the right relationship with a person who believes in you and your goals? Or is the relationship just like lukewarm water? It's not bad, not good, just comfortable enough to stand pat. If so, it might be time to evaluate your passenger. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. The natural gravity of society is not to be exceptional, but average. Toxic relationships drain energy and detract from your goals to be extraordinary. The people in your life are like comrades in battle platoon. They can save you, help you, or destroy you. Good relationships are accelerative to your process, while bad relationships are treasonous. Chapter 26, Your Primordial Fuel, Time. Time isn't a commodity, something you pass around like a cake. Time is the substance of life. When anyone asks you to give your time, they're really asking for a chunk of your life. Antoinette Bosco. The $6 bucket of chicken. Why will most people never get rich? Look no further than a $6 bucket of chicken. It made big news. A fast food restaurant offered a free bucket of chicken to anyone who had an internet coupon. People flocked to restaurant locations and waited for hours, all for a free $6 bucket of chicken. Know anyone who would stand in line for hours just to get something free? Are you one of them? These stories are common, and yet my reaction is the same. What the hell is wrong with people? I'll tell you. These people value their time at zero. It's free. Like the air we breathe, they're convinced that their time is abundant and in an endless supply. They live as if they're immortal. They are certain that time, the fuel of their life, never runs empty. I wonder if these people had 3 weeks left to live. Would they be standing in line for a bucket of chicken? What if they had 3 months? 3 years? At what level of mortality would they rule that standing in line for 3 hours for free chicken is not a good use of time? The greasy chicken truth: value your time poorly and you will be poor. When time is wasted as a lifestyle choice, you will be stranded in places you don't want to be. Take a look around. How do your friends, family, and peers value their time? Are they standing in line to save $4? Are they driving 40 minutes to save $10? Are they parked on the sofa, anxiously waiting to see who wins Dancing with the Stars? The average American watches more than 4 hours of TV each day. In a 65-year life, that person will have spent 9 years glued to the tube. Why? Simple. Life sucks. Life needs an escape. Life is no good. Show me someone who spends hours online playing Mafia Wars, Farmville, or Angry Birds, and I'll show you someone who probably isn't very successful. When life sucks, escapes are sought. I don't need television because I invested my time into a real life worth living, not a fictitious escape that airs every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Again, majority thinking yields mediocrity, and for the majority, time is an asset that is undervalued and mindlessly squandered. The Titanic. How fast is your ship sinking? People standing in line to save money ought to hold a picket sign announcing to the world, I value money more than my life. That choice is a primal mistake. A great example to time's reigning dominance over money comes from the 1997 movie Titanic. As the ship sinks and a few lifeboats remain, Caledon Hockley, a wealthy steel industrialist played by Billy Zane, bargains for his life with a ship's officer and offers cash in exchange for a lifeboat seat. The officer rebukes the tycoon's proposition with a stiff certainty. Your money can't save you any more than it can save me. Reflect on that for a moment. Your money can't save you any more than it can save me. Powerful. In those 8 seconds, the true value of time is exposed as we intersect with the certainty to our own ticking death clock. You see, once your time is gone, you're dead. And when your clock ceases to tick, No amount of cash will save you from the end. Fastlaners understand that time is the gas tank of life. When the gas tank runs dry, life ends. Time is the greatest asset you own. Not money, not the 1969 restored Mustang, and not Grandpa's old coin collection. Time. The fact is, all of us are on a sinking ship. Is your time treated as much? Is it treated fairly or carelessly? Or is your primordial fuel squandered as if the tank will never run empty? You were born rich, and you will die broke. Time is the great equalizer. You were born with a full tank of gas, there are no refilling stations, and your one fill-up occurred the moment you took your first breath. Time can't be created outside of your mortal limits. Sure, we might be able to stretch a 76-year lifespan to 82 with good health and diet, but within mortality, time is transformed from infinite to finite. The greatest theft of all humanity is to act as if our time on this earth is infinite when it isn't. The reality is that time is deathly scarce, while money is richly abundant. On any given day, $3 trillion is exchanged in the world currency markets. To give that perspective, you can spend $1 million a day for 8,000 years, and you still wouldn't have spent $3 trillion. That's 109 lifetimes to quantify the total currency trading volume that exists for one day. Money is abundant, and it will be abundant as long as the world's governments continue to print more. Now, since you don't have 8,000 years of life, isn't it logical to conclude that money is abundant and time is not? You can always acquire more money, but you cannot defy mortality. The irony of financial fortune is that no matter how much you have, you will die flat broke. You cannot escape the continual combustion of time as your tank drips time every second. You can live in blissful happiness or in a miserable depression. Time is indifferent, and it just bleeds away. Now, since time is scarce, wouldn't it make sense not to waste 3 hours of your life for a $6 bucket of chicken? Indentured time is the ransom of free time. There are two types of time that will make up your lifespan: your free time and your indentured time. Put forth in an equation, your lifespan equals free time plus indentured time. Free time is yours to spend as you please: TV, a jog in the park, video games, sleeping, eating, or vacation. If you're like most, your free time is lumped on evenings and weekends where time is not exchanged for money. Now, indentured time is the opposite. It's the total time spent earning money and the consequences of that spent time. When you awake in the morning, shower, dress, drive to the train station, wait, ride to work, and then work for 8 hours, this is indentured time. When you spend your entire weekend recharging from the work week, this is indentured time. Indentured time is the actual work and the work you must do for the work. Morning rituals, traffic, compiling reports at home, solitary recharges, whatever time spent earning a buck is indentured time. If you won the lottery, you'd quit your job because indentured time is no longer required and is suddenly replaced with free time. Money buys free time and eliminates indentured time. However, the irony of your free time is it isn't free. It's bought and paid for by your indentured time. You enjoy a 2-week vacation because it was paid for by a year of indentured time. You can relax with a cold beer on the couch because you paid for it earlier in the day with 8 hours of indentured time. Indentured time becomes the ransom of your free time. The right time versus the wrong time. There's the right time and the wrong time. The right time is free time. Indentured time is the wrong time. The slow lane ransoms time at the job and time invested in the markets. Remember, 5 indentured days for 2 free days is a bad trade. If you were born into slavery, your life would be 100% indentured time with 0% free time. While total time can't be manipulated, you can manipulate your time ratio. Wouldn't it be nice to have 1 day of indentured time and 6 days of free time? If you can steal free time from the hands of indentured time, life will have more of the right time versus the wrong time. Dump the junk in the trunk. If you race cars at the drag strip, you know that every ounce of weight counts. Racers remove everything non-essential to make the car as light as possible. This increases efficiency, speed, and performance, resulting in faster finishes. Unnecessary weight forces the car to work harder. Yet on our road trip to wealth, we're guilty of adding weight. Our vehicle is burdened with junk in the trunk that coerces us to work harder. And when you work harder long enough, it wears you out and breaks you down. This debilitating weight is parasitic debt. Parasitic debt is everything you owe the world. It's the excrement of lifestyle servitude. Your shiny new Infiniti financed at 60 months, your home mortgage financed over 30 years, those fancy designer clothes 4 months removed from out of fashion, and yes, even that insidious furniture that seemed like such a good idea at the time. All of this crap creates servitude and forces indentured time. When you're forced to work, you limit choice, and limited choices closes roads. Aside from my mother's creepy doll collection, nothing is more frightening than a parasite leeched to my neck, sucking my blood. Parasitic debt is a counterweight to the road trip. It's a bloodsucker that steals free time, energy, freedom, and health, all foes to true wealth. Parasitic debt consumes free time. The leading cause of indentured time is parasitic debt. Surely you've heard the phrase thief of hearts. When it comes to parasitic debt, it is the thief of lives. Parasitic debt is a gluttonous pig that gorges on free time and shits it out as indentured time. Any debt that forces you to work is expensed from free time and shifts it to indentured time. Debt needs a constant drip of blood, and that blood comes from your gas tank of life, time. And since time is fixed, an increase in indentured time comes from only one source, your free time. The cost of parasitic debt. The average American owes more than they are worth. Having a lifestyle built on credit creates lifestyle servitude in the form of indentured time. And because total time is finite, indentured time grows by pilfering from free time. Indentured time leads straight to the sidewalk. The next time you buy some fancy gadget on credit, know exactly what you're buying. You're buying parasitic debt that eats your free time and excretes it into indentured time. For example, if you buy an audio system that costs $4,000 and you only make $10 an hour, what's the real price? What's the weight of the poop? The price is 400 hours of your free time, since you must work 400 hours times $10 per hour to repay the debt. Add 10% interest and your final cost stacks up to 440 hours of your free time added to your weight burden. So the next time you whip out the Visa, calculate the real cost. How much free time is this going to cost me? Everything we buy has not one cost, but two. Number one, the actual dollar cost, and number two, free time transformed into indentured time. The law of chocolate chip cookies. When I first moved out on my own, I quickly learned the law of chocolate chip cookies. If the cookies don't get into the grocery cart, they don't get home. And if they don't get home, they don't get in my mouth. And if they don't get in my mouth, they don't transform into belly fat. Parasitic debt follows the same law. Control parasitic debt by controlling its source, instant gratification, which is a trait of the sidewalk. The next time you feel compelled to buy some trinket at Macy's, ask yourself, will this be obsolete in 6 months and land in the garage with the rest of the junk? In 4 months, will this stupid tribal t-shirt be relegated to that dusty side of the closet reserved for painting smocks? Again, when you purchase the next greatest fashion fad without truly being able to afford it, you open the floodgates to parasitic debt, and that flows downstream to the sidewalk. If the cost of the product doesn't make it to your credit card, it doesn't become parasitic. You become a protector of free time. Think, will this purchase take freedom? Will I own this, or will it own me? While some choose servitude behind iron bars, others choose servitude behind velvet walls. Both are the same. The ultimate wealth is having the free time to live how you want to live. The fast lane is about being both lifestyle rich as well as time rich. A poor valuation of free time leads to poorness. Rich or poor, time is equally possessed, shared, and consumed by all. Everybody gets it. You use it, I use it, your neighbor uses it. No one gets more and no one gets less. 24 hours for everybody. No one has an unfair advantage. You, me, we all have 24 hours to consume, expire, and spend. Time becomes the ultimate equalizer. So then why do so few get rich while the rest wallow from paycheck to paycheck? The distinction lies in the valuation of free time, the chosen roadmap, and the acquisition of parasitic debt. Now guess the behaviors, rich or poor? This person sleeps until noon. This person watches hours of reality TV. This person drives 2 hours just to save $20. This person buys airline tickets with multiple layovers just to save $100. This person spends hours surfing social networks and gossip blogs. This person is a level 10 druid in World of Warcraft. This person watches every Chicago Cubs game. Behind the tangled roots of poorness, you will find a poor valuation of free time, which breeds from bad choices. Time losers are poor evaluators of time. These are the people camped out at Walmart at 4 a.m. waiting to grab the early bird sales. These are the people sleeping outside Best Buy hoping to score a free 32-inch HD TV. These are people waiting outside IKEA hoping to score a free breakfast. Time losers are also inconvenient savers. The inconvenient saver desperately clutches on to every dollar, fearful it may never return. Extreme inconvenience is never a match for saving money. For example, an old friend of mine wanted an exercise bike and found it on sale at a store miles away from her home. I told her just to buy the darn thing locally and pay the higher price, which was an extra $29. Nope, she was an inconvenient saver. Instead, she drove 1 hour to save $29. Total time spent, 2.5 hours. Subtract gas, and the total valuation of her time is about $5 an hour. Last I checked, she doesn't work for $5 an hour, but has no problem wasting her free time at this rate. The inconvenient saver gladly wastes time to save money. From plane tickets with multiple stops to shared shuttled airport service, inconvenience is no match for saving a few bucks an hour. Again, if these people had 3 months left to live, would they be outside Best Buy in a sleeping bag waiting? 6 months, 6 years. At what threshold will these people pack up their sleeping bag on the sidewalk and say, gee, what the hell am I doing sleeping on a sidewalk outside an electronics store? Is this a smart use of my life? Sidewalkers sleep on sidewalks. Fastlaners exalt time as their primary consideration in decision-making because it's our most valued asset. You see, fastlaners are frugal with time, while slow laners are frugal with money. Sidewalkers and slow laners use money as the sole criterion in decision-making. Oh, which job pays the most? Where's the cheapest rent? How could I get some free chicken? Money is scarce, and time brings up the rear and sweeps up the mess. If you want to be rich, you have to start thinking rich. Time is king. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. Fastlaners regard time as the king of all assets. Time is deathly scarce, while money is richly abundant. Indentured time is time you spend to earn money. Free time is spent as you please. Your lifespan is made up of both free time and indentured time. Free time is bought and paid for by indentured time. Fastlaners seek to transform indentured time into free time. Parasitic debt eats free time and excretes it as indentured time. Lifestyle extravagances have two costs, the cost itself and the cost to free time. Parasitic debt has to be stopped at its source, instant gratification. Chapter 27. Change that dirty, stale oil. Education is what remains after one has forgotten everything he has learned in school. Albert Einstein. Change the oil every 3,000 miles. The first lesson of car ownership. Change the oil every 3,000 miles. Neglect the lesson and your car dies well before its useful life. Frequent oil changes keep your car running efficiently. Unchanged oil goes stale and turns the ride rough. Rough rides stall to the shoulder of the road. Fastlane road trip demands fresh oil changes. But what is oil? Oil is education, knowledge, street smarts. But be careful. It must be the right oil and for the right purpose. Sidewalkers don't bother with oil. After 3,000 miles, they're done. Graduation is the last oil change. Slow laners oil their vehicles for the explicit purpose of raising intrinsic value. Advanced education, certifications, what's going to command a bigger salary? Fastlaners, on the other hand, oil their vehicles until they hit the junkyard. Graduation is not the end, it's the beginning. Face it, What you know today is not enough to get you where you need to be tomorrow. You must constantly reinvent yourself, and reinvention is education. Unfortunately, graduation traditionally signals the end of education. Regardless of your graduating age, adulthood begins. To cease learning at graduation is wealth suicide. Your most effective earning years happen after graduation. So wouldn't it be smart to continue the educational process long after formal schooling?
Jim Gallagher graduated 11 years ago and is unemployed. Jim is a stockbroker, but because of internet technology, his expertise has become endangered and flirts with extinction. Jim's education for that specific job set has become dated and no longer applies to the current world. The world has moved on, yet Jim and his education have not. Jim contemptuously takes a menial sales job at a local furniture store. His financial plan stalls because he operates within the same stale oil last changed 11 years ago. Jim fails to change his oil, so Jim's road trip to wealth also fails.
Education, your oil, is a critical component to your wealth road trip. When you continually inject yourself with new education, new skills, and new competencies, new roads open and things run smoothly. The right education has incredible horsepower. Education's role. Education is virtuous under both slow lane and fast lane roadmaps, but the roles are profoundly different. In the slow lane, education is used to elevate intrinsic value, while in the fast lane, it is used to facilitate and grow the business system. Also, fast lane education is secured by methods that do not produce parasitic debt or conformity. The purpose of education within the fast lane is to amplify the power of the money tree and the business system. You're not a cog in the wheel. You learn to build the wheel. For example, if I go to a training seminar that gives me the skills to hire Top Gun salespeople, I'm engaged in activities that specifically enhance the fertility of my business and my money tree. If I read a book on a new computer technology that illustrates how to create new interactive website features, I'd be learning to facilitate the system. Again, fast lane education is to foster growth of the business system. Conversely, slow lane education is designed to specifically enhance the intrinsic value of the person receiving the education. It is to become a gear in the system. A Fastlane forum user had the opportunity to pursue an MBA, and he asked if it was worth it. My answer typically would be no, but this scenario was a little different. First, the MBA had no money cost, only time cost, as the government was paying for it. Second, this gentleman espoused a Fastlane ideology, so his purpose was not intrinsic value elevation, but expansion of his knowledge to facilitate the Fastlane system. So I voted yes. I don't know how. If an oil change puts your car on a lift for months or years, what's the point? Your continued education must not come laden with conformity or parasitic debt, but must facilitate your Fastlane system. How? Make the real world your university. Yes, you are your own university. Ask any successful entrepreneur and they will validate this truth. You learn from engagement, from doing, from getting out there and taking repeated action, more so from than any other book or professor. But I don't know how, you cry. Oh, stop. Public enemy number one on the most used excuses list is I don't know how. Well, why don't you know how? I'll tell you why. You don't know because you haven't taught yourself how, nor have you wanted to know how badly enough. You see, it's easier to relent under the weight of I don't know how than it is to actively pursue the knowledge. In today's information society, there is absolutely no excuse not to find out how. I graduated from college with 2 business degrees, marketing and finance. Neither of them was related to computer science. I graduated with no computer programming experience. Yet, I made millions on the internet. Funny, after 13 years of expensive institutional education, I never took a formal class about internet or web technologies. Heck, my computer classes were limited to introductory business courses. If I didn't go to school to learn the internet, how the heck did I learn to become educated within this skill set? I sought to change my oil frequently. I educated myself. I read books. I hit the library. I spent hours on the web and read articles, tutorials, wikis. I sought and consumed knowledge. Years ago when I started my career with internet media, I could have easily quit and leaned on the obvious. I don't know how. I don't know how to program a website. I don't know how to design graphics. I don't know how to manage a server. I don't know how to write marketing copy. These excuses are like a plastic bag, ready to smother your dreams, but only if you stick your head in the bag. Instead, my vision of a website didn't end with, I don't know how, but started there. So get your head out of the bag. Had I not refreshed my skill set, my oil, my journey would have stalled. My religious pursuit of knowledge kept me efficient in an ever-changing world and primed me for fast-lane opportunities. Education didn't end with graduation, it started. And best of all, my self-taught education was a twin-turbo acceleration into the fast lane. My skills did not come loaded with parasitic debt or conformity. Education is freely available. The greatest travesty of the free world is the underuse of knowledge. Walk into your local bookstore and inhale. Smell that? That's the smell of infinite knowledge. Walk into your local library and look around. Amazing, wall-to-wall books, free for the taking. Imagine if you could digest every book, every paragraph, and every sentence. Would I don't know how be a detriment to your success? I'm astonished that education is freely available, yet most choose not to take it. Education is unplucked fruit from a tree, and all it needs is a ladder. Yet most people cling to the limiting belief that I can't afford education. Sorry, but it's just an excuse to be lazy. Infinite knowledge is at your fingertips, and the only thing preventing you from getting it is you. Yes, you. Turn off the TV, pick up a book, and read it. Quit playing Guitar Hero and hit the library. Quit playing Game Boy and hit the books. A committed fastlaner has his nose in a book weekly. He attends seminars. He trolls business forums. He's on Google searching different topics and strategies. You have the innate power to become an expert at anything not requiring physical talent. Anything. No book in the world can make me a professional basketball player or a professional singer, but books can transfigure novices to experts in non-physical disciplines. You can become a currency trading expert, real estate, business, web programming, sales, a public speaker. These expertise for any discipline not requiring physical coordination is out there. What does it take? Your commitment of pursuit, and then the biggie, applying it. When I remodeled my house, the walls of my grand foyer needed to be faux painted. Faux finishing is a complicated painting technique that's used to create lavish surfaces with depth and luminance. I had two choices: call a professional or learn to do it myself. Since I was retired, I viewed this as a fun challenge, so I opted to do it myself. I hit the internet and watched a few hours of video tutorials. Then I hit the Home Depot and bought supplies. Over the next several days, I practiced on cardboard boxes. Within a week, I became proficient at faux painting. I built myself a skill in 1 week. Days earlier, I was in the sphere of I don't know how, and days later, I possessed a new skill that I could aptly sell if I wanted. The best faux painters earn $10 a square foot. In 1 week, I built myself a skill that opened up a tiny road into a fast lane equation. Skills and expertise are just waiting for you. No one drops a book on your lap or gifts you knowledge. You have to seek it, process it, and then use it. The acquisition and application of knowledge will make you rich. So where do you find infinite knowledge inexpensively? Like the air you breathe, it's all around you, like an apple tree waiting to be plucked. Bookstores. Books possess the greatest return for your educational dollar. The library. The greatest repository of knowledge and the disabler of I can't afford to buy books excuse. I got my start at the library. Internet forums. Find like-minded congregations and learn from those who have succeeded. Find tailwinds. Internet classes. Can be pricey but convenient. Internet blogs, podcasts, screencasts, webcasts. Another excuse destroyer. Seminars. Good seminars bring good value, assuming they are sponsored by the right entities and not get-rich-quick gurus. Television. Cable TV has turned television educational. Deviate from the mindless reality TV garbage and tune in to channels with educational value. History, Discovery, Science, HGTV, Military, and National Geographic. Continuing education classes. Offered mostly by community colleges, these classes offer a wide array of formal training in specific disciplines. Free magazines. Visit tradepub.com and freebizmag.com and sign up for free magazine subscriptions pertaining to your topic of interest. Unfortunately, while infinite knowledge surrounds us, most people ignore it. Take, for example, this comment about education from successful real estate investor Lonnie Scruggs, LonnieScruggs.net.
I used to work 2 jobs. Education changed my life. Before I learned how to put money to work, I was doing all the work. I was so uneducated back then that I thought the answer to financial freedom was working 2 jobs, and that's what I did for many years. Finally, I realized there weren't enough hours in a day, and I couldn't work enough hours in a month to reach financial security. There had to be a better way. I started looking for that way. When I realized that education and knowledge was the answer, I made up my mind to get an education. Before that, all I had was some schooling. Now I realized I needed some education. Now I can look back and see that I didn't do all the easy and fun things like many people were doing, but I did all the right things. And today, we enjoy financial security and financial freedom. We can do what we want. Many of our friends are still working jobs, searching for financial security that they will never know. They had the same chance to make choices that I had, they just made the wrong choices. They had all the schooling they needed but didn't have the necessary education that provided financial freedom. Now they tell me how lucky we are. The best investment you can make is in yourself. So be willing to pay for your education now, or be prepared to pay a much bigger price for your lack of education later. The choices you make today will determine your financial future. Be sure you make the right choice, because you will have to live with the results of that choice.
The rich understand that education doesn't end with the graduation ceremony, it starts. The world is in constant flux, and as it evolves, your education must move with it, or you will drift to mediocrity. I don't have time. Tailgating the crutch of I don't know how is I don't have time. Where on earth will you find time to change your oil? I mean, seriously, between the full-time job and the 2 kids, where is there time? It's in between everything else. Changing your oil isn't difficult when you attach it to existing activities of repetition and consistency. While time might be linear, it can be manipulated by performing double duty on one time block, as in the old cliche, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Maximize time and you maximize wealth. Accomplish 2 objectives in 1 time frame. Make life your university. Here are some time-cheating life university strategies. Driving university. Listen to audiobooks or financial news radio while stuck in traffic. Traffic nuisances transformed to education. Exercise university. Absorb books, podcasts, and magazines while exercising at the gym. In between sets on the treadmill or on a stationary bike, exercise is transformed to education. Waiting university. Bring something to read with you when you anticipate a painful wait. Airports, doctor's offices, and your state's brutal motor vehicle department. Don't sit there and twiddle your thumbs. Learn. Toilet university. Never thrown without reading something of educational value. Extend your sit time, even after you've finished, with the intent of learning something new every single day. Toilet university is the best place to change your oil since it occurs daily and the time expenditure cannot be avoided. This means the return on your time investment is infinite. Toilet time is transformed to education. Jobbing university. If you can, read during your work downtimes. During my dead job employment, like driving limos and pizza delivery, I enjoyed significant wait times between jobs. While I waited for passengers, pizzas, or flower orders, I read. I didn't sit around playing pocket poker. No, I read. If you can exploit dead time during your job, you are getting paid to learn. Dead-end jobs become transformed to education. TV time university. Can't wean yourself off TV? No problem. Put a television near your workspace and simultaneously work your Fastlane plan while the TV does its thing. While watching countless reruns of Star Trek, boldly going where no man has gone before, I simultaneously learn how to program websites. In fact, as I write this, I'm watching the New Orleans Saints pummel the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football. Gridiron gluttony transformed to work and education. Think about the time you already use. How many hours do you waste in the trivialities of life? This doesn't need to be time lost or time wasted. This time is ripe for Fastlane oil changes. To start your oil recharge, choose a topic that interests you or an area in your life that needs improvement. Not good at sales or writing? Get to the library and start reading. Before I started writing Fastlane, I bought 6 books relating to publishing, writing, and authoring. I didn't blindly write and publish a book. I educated myself thoroughly during the process. Set a goal to read at least 12 books a year, or 1 per month. If you are aggressive like me, you'll read a book every week. I can't stress enough that the more knowledge you consume, the more torque you create on the Fastlane road trip. The $50,000 oil change. The last time I went to one of those while-you-can-wait oil change places, an advertised $22 oil change morphed into a $110 bill because of extra service suggestions. An oil change shouldn't cost you more than $25, and anything heavier should arouse your suspicions. $20 is the average price of a book. Used books are less. Library books are free. Continuing education at a community college averages $30 per credit hour. Oil changes are cheap, yet we continue to strap the chains of debt to our ankles and pay thousands of dollars for our oil changes. I saw a picture the other day of a student publicly protesting one of the government financial bailouts. She hoisted a large poster that read, "I've got a 4.0 GPA, $90,000 in debt, and no job. Where's my bailout?" Where's your bailout? Let me tell you, walk into the bathroom, flip on the light switch, and look in the freaking mirror. There's your bailout. I'm tired of sob stories from well-intended students who graduate from college with mountains of debt and can't get a job. Take responsibility. You bought into the myth that college ensures a job. The fact is, when you allow the market forces to drive your vehicle, you're likely to end on a street with a homemade poster proclaiming the value of your 4.0 GPA and the crushing burden of your six-figure debt. No one cares. You're in debt because you borrowed. You're in debt because you bought into the lie and relinquished control. You bought into the slow lane. Were you forced to take loans? You don't have a job because you voted for politicians who penalize producers and reward consumers. Face the facts. An expensive oil change that forces a lifetime of indentured time is stupid. Again, parasitic debt doesn't care about the source. It only wants to eat your free time, preferably seasoned with a little salt and pepper. The seminar fail. What idiot would pay $50,000 to attend a seminar? Many do. This is a common question at the Fastlane forum. So-and-so is offering a 3-day seminar on real estate investment for $50,000. Should I buy it? What? Are you smoking crack? Do you know what you're buying? Let me tell you. You're paying $50,000 for someone to explain a book that's found at the bookstore for $19. A $50,000 seminar is exploitation of what we producers know. People are lazy. People want it handed to them. People don't want to read and they don't want to connect the dots. They want it done for them. People want to be steered. They want someone to drive their vehicle. People want events, not process. And what better event is there than a $50,000 seminar? Now don't get me wrong, seminars can be great for education, but it has to be the right seminar, which is affordable and given by producers and experts, not by professional career public speakers. Most high-dollar seminars are well-orchestrated marketing machines tailored to extract every dollar from your wallet. Most cheap seminars are day-long upsells into a more expensive seminar. And those well-suited presenters? They suffer the typical paradox of practice, rich from public speaking to millions, but not rich from what they teach. A member of the Fastlane Forum reflected on a recent experience with a popular book guru.
First, you won't be allowed to network. If you were allowed to network, then people would find out quicker that this seminar is just one giant sales pitch for a larger, more expensive seminar to the tune of $50,000. Second, you won't learn a damn thing except that you should have listened to your gut and not gone. There really is a sucker born every minute. Amazing people have nothing in the bank, but can come up with $50,000 just for the hope of something better. And finally, there's a segment in the seminar where they have you increase the balance on your credit cards because after all, the rich make money and the poor earn it. So then everyone goes and increases their balances and then guess what? They hit you with the purchase price of anywhere from $16,000 to $50,000 depending on how serious you are. Ridiculous? Apparently not, because people go rushing to the back of the room like cattle to slaughter, credit cards in hand. They leave with a nervous sense of self-satisfaction and a cute little sticker that says, "I invest in myself."
A $50,000 oil change is as shocking as a $50,000 seminar. Good seminars are under $1,000 and are given by respectable experts, practitioners, and seminar firms. Good seminars are educational and don't come at the price of a brand new Cadillac. Bad seminars are hyped, high pressure, and exploitive. Bad seminars are about making money and not about helping you. So, How could you tell a good seminar from a bad one? The first tip-off is price. Anything unreasonable is a warning sign that the provider is more interested in making money than your education. The second is price again. Be wary of free. Free usually means 8 minutes of education and 8 hours of upsell to a higher price seminar. Thirdly, who is giving it? Is it a professional speaker or someone who actually practices what he or she teaches? Read the fine print. Johnny Guru's strategies have made millions. And then the fine print says, Johnny Guru will not be in attendance. Huh? Would you allow an acting surrogate to perform surgery on you if the real surgeon wasn't available? Total fail. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. Fastlaners start their education at graduation, if not before. A Fastlaner's education serves to advance their business system and their money tree, not to raise intrinsic value. Fastlaners aren't interested in being a cog in the wheel. They want to be the wheel. I don't know how is an excuse dismantled by discipline. Infinite knowledge is everywhere and it's free. What's missing is discipline to assimilate it. You can become an expert in any discipline not requiring physical skills. Educational recharges can occur within time blocks already allocated for other objectives. Organizers of expensive seminars take advantage of sidewalkers and disenfranchised slow laners by marketing empty promises as events. Chapter 28, Hit the Red Line. If things seem under control, you're just not going fast enough. Mario Andretti. Fastlane winners are forged at the red line. Winners are forged at the red line. What's the red line? The red line is pure, unadulterated commitment. Money trees, businesses, and systems aren't built overnight. It took Chuma years to construct his pyramid machine. Commitment is money tree, water, sun, fertilizer, and cultivation. I know commitment is a word likely to cause a riotous exodus. If you think the fast lane process is easy, stop now and go back to the slow lane, which isn't easy either. Remember, get rich easy is a lure with a hook. The creation of a vibrant business is like raising a child from birth to adulthood. Like a parent has to commit to their children, you must commit to your system and your business. It is at the red line where the limits of the car are tested, and that is where your limits will be tested. Are you interested or committed? Too many people saunter through life coasting in first gear and then wonder, how did I get here? Who doesn't want to worry about money? Unfortunately, it doesn't take any effort to be interested in wealth and financial security. Interest is kindergarten. It isn't enough, and those who have interest just live in first gear. To get out of first gear, you must first make a concerted effort and a lineage of good choices to exploit the power of the fast lane. There's a profound difference between interest and commitment. Interest reads a book. Commitment applies the book 50 times. Interest wants to start a business. Commitment files the LLC paperwork. Interest works on your business an hour a day, Monday through Friday, while commitment works on your business 7 days a week whenever time permits. Interest leases an expensive car, while commitment rides a bike and puts the money into your system. Interest is looking rich, while commitment is planning to be rich. Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, didn't build the most used social network just by being interested. He was committed. Interest is quitting after the third failure, while commitment is continuing after the 100th. While I was building my company, my system, my surrogate, I was committed. I'd spend 12 hours a day for weeks perfecting and building my system. I'd forgo nights drinking with friends. I lived in a cramped studio apartment. I'd eat cheap pasta for lunch and dinner. I was ready to wash dishes for my plan. While my friends were more concerned with bragging rights for having the fastest car in a racing video game, I wanted financial freedom. I wanted a fast car in reality, not on a video game. My friends were committed to being winners in a fantasy world, while I was committed to being a winner in the real world. Fast lane winners are forged at the red line. Distance yourself from most people. How bad do you want it? How willing are you? Are you willing to sleep in your car for it? Are you willing to live in a tiny apartment while your friends own houses? Are you willing to forgo the nice BMW in favor of a rust bucket with 150,000 miles? Are you willing to wait tables at Maloney's Bar and Grill when your friends have cushy $50,000 a year jobs? How willing are you? Most people aren't willing, and it separates the winners from the losers. The idea of living in the rat race for 50 years has to be more painful than the idea of working your ass off to escape it. You can have mediocre comfort now or meteoric comfort later. The Fastlaner trades short-term comforts with the foreknowledge that extraordinary long-term comfort is to be gained. When it comes down to getting in the mud and getting dirty, most people will opt for smooth sailing of first gear and avoid the discomfort of the red line. The red line busts through roadblocks and hardens process. When Carnegie Mellon University professor Randy Pausch was diagnosed with terminal cancer, he blessed us with his last lecture. He said,
"The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something. The brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. They are there to stop other people."
The last two words of the quote are other people. You want to be damn sure you aren't other people, because other people is synonymous with most people. Most people are consumers who are 2 paychecks from broke. Most people won't invest long hours into their business system while their friends are living it up on credit. Most people will allow friends and family to deflate their dreams with "that won't work" directives. Most people start excited and gush with exuberance, but give up at the first pothole or failure. Most people succumb to "I quit" and give up, not knowing that they are 1 or 2 plays away from a touchdown, the Fastlane exponential growth curve. Are we there yet? Wealth is a devious entity, and its elusiveness weeds out the weak. Your journey will follow a predictable path of excitement, questioning, commitment, and rebirth. Fastlane success requires an investment toll of time and effort. This is the toll that makes you special and keeps everyone else out. This red line effort cannot be bypassed nor outsourced. Prime your expectations for work and sacrifice. Know your destination, envision your dreams, ready your means, and know that you are simply paying the toll because you don't want to trade 5 for 2 for life. If you don't do the hard work that Fastlane opportunity demands, somebody else will. And if you aren't like everyone, you will discover something miraculous. You can live unlike everyone. Get your foot off the brakes. The sweat of success is failure, and I am soaking wet. If you've taken a step, spin, or aerobics class, you know the objective is to sweat, to get your heart rate up, to build. If you went to a cardio class and the instructor forbade sweating, it would negate its purpose. Hard work naturally produces sweat, and sweat becomes evidence to your effort. Unfortunately, this ludicrous analogy is the paradox you face if you fear failure and refuse to release the brakes. The sweat of success is failure. While you can't build cardiovascular endurance without sweating, you can't experience success without failure. Failure is simply a natural response to success. If you avoid failure, you will also avoid success. You can't drive the road to wealth with the brakes engaged. You have to take risks. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get out there and fail. So what causes this fear of failure? Fear of failure is attributed to an overestimation worst-case consequence analysis. What is the absolute worst that could happen, and the probability of it happening? You fail at business and you have to go back to work? Big deal. When you resist societal headwinds, you will sweat. Take calculated risks. Do so and things happen. You meet new people. New opportunities arise. Feedback pours in. Lucky breaks converge into your life. The act of doing does marvelous things. Yes, the Fastlane is a risk. Failure is imminent. I learned how to code computers by trial and failure. I'd fail a code block hundreds of times before I found the right way to do something. My other failures ranged from moronic multi-level marketing programs to jewelry to direct marketing programs. Each time I brushed it off, reanalyzed, learned, adjusted, and tried again. I once heard a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. You can learn from my failures. I didn't learn the Fastlane overnight. I fought it by the light of failure. Fear of failure is normal, yet failure creates experience, and experience breeds wisdom. Fastlane risks can have lifelong returns. Bill Gates is a one-hit wonder. He built one company and made billions. One company was all it took. Some might say I'm a one-hit wonder. Great. I'd rather be a one-hit wonder than a no-hit wonder. One hit is all it takes, and you could be set up for life. You have a challenge. If you want to hit home runs, you got to get up to the plate and swing. Home runs or singles can't be hit sitting on your butt in the dugout or sitting on the couch eating pretzels while killing grunts on Halo 3. Get up to the plate and start swinging. Start striking out. After enough swings and acclimating yourself to the velocity of business, contact becomes easier. Take intelligent risks and skip the moronic ones. When it comes to risk analysis, there are two types of risk designated by best and worst case outcomes or consequences: intelligent risks and moronic risks. Flying to Las Vegas and gambling a month's salary at the craps table is a moronic risk. Driving a car on the freeway with faulty brakes is a moronic risk. When you take intelligent risks and avoid the moronic ones, you amplify your wealth trajectory through time. Intelligent risks have a limited downside, while their upside is unlimited. Moronic risks have a bottomless downside, while their upside is limited or short-term. Most moronic risks fall into the asymptomatic category. They simply aren't clearly defined, and it takes a little diligence to spot them. When I'm out racing on the streets of Phoenix in an 850 horsepower car, I'm engaged in an asymptomatic moronic risk. My upside is a short-term burst of adrenaline and a temporary ego boost. The downside is crashing and killing myself or someone else. The upside is limited and short. The downside is unlimited and long. Yes, it just seems so idiotic. Here's another moronic risk, and it took me this chapter to uncover it. I'm writing this book on a cloud computing application. That means I'm writing to an external source or an external server. I have not made copies of my work. If the cloud server fails, my work is gone. Yes, moronic risks come in all sizes and flavors, and this makes me the idiot of the day. Excuse me while I go back up my work. Okay, I'm back. Now let's talk about intelligent risks. When I invest $100,000 in an internet company, I'm engaging in an intelligent risk. When I sold my internet company, I reinvested part of the proceeds back into the company. I still own a very minor percentage, and it's completely passive. Now, why did I invest $100,000 and expose myself to the risk? I assessed the acquiring company's probability of success to be high. Their goal was to take my small company and transform it into a $100 million company. If they succeed, my small $100,000 investment would then be worth upside to $2 million. The downside? The company could fail and the liquidation value of my investment would lose about 50%. My downside is limited, while the upside is substantial. This is an intelligent risk. If you quit your job to engage in a fast-lane business, it's an intelligent risk. Your upside could be millions. The downside? You might have to live below your standards, mop floors, flip burgers, eat rice and beans, or ride your bike to the grocery store. Now, is that really that bad? Not if you know your destination and your commitment to the roadmap. Again, it all comes down to what you are willing to do and not willing to do. Risk involves careful stewardship of choice. Minimize moronic risk and take advantage of intelligent risk. As for the failure, trust me, it is easier to live in regret of failure than in regret of never trying. Smack someday. What prevents people from hitting the red line? Someday does. Someday I will, someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that, and someday when the kids are grown, someday when the debts are paid, someday. And yet, someday never comes. Someday is a distant horizon in the theater of your mind. Someday is dangerous and paralyzing. It traps you in the land of Nowheresville. Sunday is here, now, pristine and clean and begging no allegiance for tomorrow. The Fastlane petitions you for this simple transformation. Make someday today. Ever drive somewhere and all the traffic lights are green? Unfortunately, when it comes to opportunity and risk minimization, people wait for the perfect timing. They wait for all the lights to go green, which summons the somedays. Ask anyone seeking a slow lane escape, why haven't you made the leap? What are you waiting for? It's always some excuse. I'm waiting for a promotion. I'm waiting for the kids to be older. I'm waiting to be debt-free. I'm waiting for the new year. I'm waiting to finish school. I'm waiting for the wife to get a job. I'm waiting for the economy to turn around. I'm waiting until I fix the hot water heater. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for that. The common thread is always the same. I'm waiting. But waiting for what? Someday. Someday for something, some event, or some precondition. Sadly, these mentally constructed provisions come and go, leaving the opportunity seekers stuck in the same rut for years. Waiting for all the lights to go green is like waiting for the skies to turn purple on the third Wednesday in November. Let me be clear if I haven't been. There is never a perfect time. Someday is today. Today is now. A week is 7 todays strung together, while a year is 365. Today is all you've got, and if you wait, opportunity passes. Your Fastlane journey never starts, and year after year passes with new preconditions being added while the old ones are satisfied. While opportunity passes, guess what else passes? Time. Yep, ring up the cheesy soap opera music. As time passes, so do the sands of your life, and these are the days of our lives. Opportunity doesn't care about timing. Opportunity drives through your neighborhood frequently, and when it does, you have to grab that bitch. Evaluate the risk and take action. Unfortunately, opportunity doesn't care about your timing. Opportunity doesn't care about your circumstances, your broken down car, or your life's turmoil. It comes and goes on its own will, has a mind of its own, and is blind to predicaments. Opportunity comes dressed as changes and challenges. Remember, change makes millionaires. The Fastlane Forum, thefastlaneforum.com, is my example of seizing opportunity outside of my desired timing. My forum existed years before this book was written because opportunity drove through my neighborhood unannounced. My preconceived timing for the Fastlane Forum was after my book's completion. However, years before the first word was written, I revisited a business forum I had once frequented. I recognized familiar forum contributors lamenting about the old days and how hucksters had invaded the forum, people pimping their spams, schemes, and scams. It was a blooming garden of flowers that had become overrun by weeds. People demanded change or an alternative. In my mind, I had a forum coming at some point in the undefined future. But this opportunity was not coming at my convenience. Opportunity suddenly turned the corner and I heard its deafening exhaust. Even though I was in the shower, I got out, ran outside soaking wet, unprepared, premature, and met the opportunity. I greeted it, opened the door, and let it inside. Not in my time, but in opportunity's time, and someday became today. That decision allowed me to pre-sell hundreds of books before the first word was written. Many of the world's successful entrepreneurs started businesses in college. You know their companies, Microsoft, Dell, FedEx, Facebook. Their founders seized opportunity outside of their timing and chose to take an intelligent risk. These entrepreneurs captured opportunity and didn't wait for satisfaction of preconditions. Oh, after I graduate, or on summer break, or after the Math 202 exam. Opportunities are dressed as unfilled needs, and when they ring your doorbell, you have to answer it. Unanswered, opportunity leaves and rings another doorbell, knowing eventually somebody willing will answer. So why not you? Timing is rarely perfect. Waiting empowers mediocrity. People sit around waiting their entire lives for the perfect this and the perfect that. The perfect scenarios and circumstances never arrive. What does arrive? Time, old age, and the specter of a dream lost. And now you have the opportunity to get out of the garage and take the road. The road is where your Fastlane journey starts. Fastlane roads lead to wealth. You have the Fastlane roadmap, and you know how the slow lane and the sidewalk operate. You know how to tune your vehicle. You know which mindsets are assets and which are liabilities. You've exposed the gravitational forces that will conspire against your vehicle. You have all the necessary tools to get out of the garage and get on one of the many roads to wealth. Yes, it is time to hit the road. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. Interest is first gear. Commitment is the red line. Hard work and commitment separates the winners from losers. Some choose short-term mediocre comfort over long-term meteoric comfort. To live unlike everyone else, you have to do what everyone else won't. Arm your expectations to hard work, sacrifice, and other bumps in the road. These are the landmines where the weak are removed from the road and sent back to the land of most people. Failure is natural to success. Expect it and learn from it. One home run could set you up financially secure for the rest of your life, perhaps generations. Home runs cannot be hit in the dugout. Moronic risks have unlimited downside long-term and limited upside short-term. Intelligent risks have unlimited upside long-term and limited downside short-term. There is never perfect timing, and waiting for someday just wastes time. Part 7, The Roads to Wealth. Chapter 29, The Right Road, Routes to Wealth. He who chooses the beginning of the road chooses the place it leads to. It is the means that determines the end. Henry Emerson Fosdick. Is your road to wealth a dead end? What is the road to wealth as it relates to your wealth journey? If you're a slow laner, your road is a job: doctor, lawyer, engineer, salesman, hairdresser, or pilot. If you're a fast laner, your road is a business: internet entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, inventor. Your road is your career or business path, and that road must route to wealth. Unfortunately, most jobs can't route to wealth because of their mathematical limitations, and surprisingly, most businesses don't either. A road that starts in Chicago and leads east will never hit Las Vegas. It's a dead end. If you're on an errant business road, you have to use your steering wheel and make a course correction. Exit the road, take a turn, or turn around. This impasse confronts millions of business owners. They fool themselves by journeying the wrong road and then wonder why wealth has eluded them. Instead of fighting 8-hour workdays, they fight 12-hour store hours. Instead of leveraging the surrogacy of a system, they trade time for dollars. Instead of trading 5 days of work for 2 days off, they trade 6 for 1 or 7 for 0 in lifelong perpetuity. If you heed the Fastlane philosophy and start a lemonade stand on the street corner simply because Fastlane said, "Start a business," I've failed. That road is the wrong road because it doesn't route to wealth. The road to wealth must route to wealth. How? Your road must go through or near the law of affection. The road to affection, the 5 Fastlane commandments. The law of affection says to make millions, you must impact millions. How can you impact millions? In the slow lane, you explode intrinsic value, become enormously indispensable, and earn millions. In the fast lane, you engineer a business that touches millions of lives in scale or many lives of magnitude. If your road doesn't lead to affection's neighborhood or you have an off-ramp onto it, sorry, you're on the wrong road. The power of the fast lane wealth equation is ignited by a business that drives to the law of affection. Business opportunities are plentiful, and unfortunately, most of them aren't fast lane roads. If you're stuck in a retail store selling $10 haircuts, can you reasonably expect to serve millions? To make millions, you must serve millions. A kick-butt attitude is negated if your road is directionally challenged toward affection, because affection is the gatekeeper to wealth. To light the law of affection and illuminate your fast lane road, cross-examine it against the 5 fast lane commandments, which we pronounced next. Number 1, the commandment of need. Number 2, the commandment of entry. Number 3, the commandment of control. Number 4, the commandment of scale. Number 5, the commandment of time. The next commandments are a fast lane litmus test, and they validate your road. Does your road or your potential road route to wealth? Is it fast lane? Can it be made fast lane? Can it hit affection? Can your road route to a multi-million-dollar enterprise, generate passive income, and end at a final liquidation event? A road meeting all 5 commandments can make you filthy rich. As violations accrue, the road degrades in its wealth potential, and with it, your ability to get near affection also degrades. While it's possible to violate 1 or more commandments and still create wealth quickly, you should aim for a road that satisfies all 5 commandments. Potent roads are potent wealth creators. Sadly, most business opportunities fail the commandments, and if they fail, they don't deserve your respect or attention. Chapter summary, fast lane distinctions. Not all businesses are the right road. Few roads move at, through, or near the law of affection. The best and the purest fast lanes satisfy the 5 fast lane commandments: need, entry, control, scale, and time. Chapter 30, the commandment of need. What do we live for if not to make life less difficult for each other? George Eliot. Sand foundations crumble houses. 90% of all new businesses fail within the first 5 years. And I know why they fail. They fail because they fail the commandment of need. The commandment of need. When you build a business based on a flawed foundation, it's going to fail. Sand foundations crumble houses. Businesses that violate the commandment of need either belong to the 90% failure category or masquerade as a job. Gravity cannot be defied, and the winning premise of business is a simple yet often forgotten principle by most business owners. Businesses that solve needs win. Businesses that provide value win. Businesses that solve problems win profits. Selfish, narcissistic motives do not make good long-term business models. Now think about the purpose of business. Why do they exist? To satisfy your selfish desire to do what you love? To satisfy your craving for wealth and financial freedom? Seriously, no one cares about your desires, your dreams, your passions, and your whys and your reasons for wanting to be rich. No one cares that you want to own a Ferrari and prove your parents wrong. No one cares that corporate America wronged you. No one cares. Yes, the world is a selfish place, and nobody gives two craps about your motives to go fast lane. So what do people care about? People care about what can your business do for them? How will it help them? What's in it for them? Will it solve their problem? Make their life easier? Provide them with shelter? Save them money? Educate them? Make them feel something? Tell me, why on God's green earth should I give your business money? What value are you adding to my life? Reflect back to our producer-consumer dichotomy. Consumers are selfish. They demand to know, what's in it for me? To succeed as a producer, you have to surrender your own selfishness and address the selfishness of others. Stop chasing money. Chase needs. Never start a business just to make money. Stop chasing money and start chasing needs. Let me repeat that because it's probably the most important thing in this book. Stop thinking about business in terms of your selfish desires, whether it's money, dreams, or do what you love. Instead, chase needs, problems, pain points, service deficiencies, and emotions. Entrepreneurs fail because they create businesses based on selfish premises, and selfish premises don't yield profitable businesses. They lead directly into the 90% failure wastebasket.
I need a new income stream. I'm an expert in blank, so I'll do that. I read a get-rich book and it says to start a business.
Wrong, wrong, and wrong. Again, selfish, narcissistic premises are VIP invitations to violate the commandment of need. You and your business attract money when you stop being selfish and turn your business's focus from the needs of yourself to the needs of other people. Give first and take second. Needs come first, not money. Needs precede money. Engage the marketplace with your own selfish need, and my bet is placed on your failure.
Joe was a martial arts expert, and he loved his craft. Following the advice of gurus, he set out to do what you love and opened up a martial arts studio. Within 10 months, his studio closed as he could no longer support his family on a $21,000 per year business profit.
Before Joe started, he was destined for failure. He got into business based on a faulty entrepreneurial road paved with sand, a premise based on selfish needs and selfish desires. Oh, I'm an expert in martial arts and I love the art, therefore I should open a studio. The correct foundation is externally based on needs in the market, not on internal selfish needs. Instead of selfish motives, what should have Joe really been thinking? Is there a need in my neighborhood for a martial arts studio? What are the existing martial arts studios doing wrong that I could do better? What improved value do I offer the martial arts student? What assets do I bring to this community? Joe failed because there wasn't a genuine need in the marketplace, and his motives were selfish. Had Joe analyzed these questions foremost, his odds of driving a successful road would have dramatically improved. Several years ago, during the economic expansion, I noticed a standalone storefront being built in my mother's neighborhood of Chandler, Arizona, a white, middle-class suburb of Phoenix. As the building went up and the store tenant moved in, the heat of failure percolated. How did I know? This new store was a hip-hop apparel boutique. Now fasten your seatbelt because here comes failure. Why? The store violates the commandment of need. The neighborhood doesn't need a hip-hop store. The area isn't urban, there's no dance clubs nearby, and nothing looks remotely hip-hop. In fact, not 100 yards away there's an elder care retirement home. Is a 91-year-old grandpa the target market for hip-hop gear? The obvious problem here is selfishness. The owner is following his passions and his love for hip-hop music and culture. Maybe a life coach told him to do what you love. Whatever the motive, the need is internal and not externally based on the marketplace. I predicted the business would last a year. After 18 months, the business disappeared. The road was paved with sand because no need existed. Money chasers chase money, not needs. Frequently, I read a lot of posts from aspiring entrepreneurs with grandiose goals of making a fortune by starting a business. Hang out at any business forum and you will see the misdirected, selfish foundation poisoning the well. How can I make money starting a business? What business can I start with $200 and make $5K a month? What home-based business can I start? I have a friend who manufactures widgets. You think I can make money selling them? How can I make a good passive income? What's a good product to sell on eBay? What's the best business to start on a shoestring? If you sit around and ask yourself these types of questions, you'll likely end up in the failure category because these dialogues expose your preoccupation with money, not needs or value. You've got it backwards. I call these entrepreneurs money chasers. They hop from one business to the next, scalping and arbitraging market imbalances, rarely solving needs or creating momentum. Sometimes these selfish business owners use questionable business practices as customer needs are neglected and money is pursued with reckless abandon. Money chasers are consumers who haven't quite made the transition to producer. They want to be producers, but they selfishly think like consumers. For example, in the housing boom, money chasers became mortgage brokers and real estate agents. The burst of the bubble purged the industry clean of the excess. Now with foreclosures at an all-time high, loan modifiers are the newest money chasers. Every boom and bust brings forth the money chasers who are selfishly motivated to hop aboard a train of trends, but are in business solely to serve themselves. With plenty of selfish consumers to prey upon, money chasers survive and thrive until the next bust, or they're exposed for fraud. In times of excess, scams, schemes, and rip-offs pervade because money chasers invade and imbalances are created. To attract money is to forget money. Want to make big bucks? Then start attracting money instead of chasing it. Money's like a mischievous cat. If you chase it around the neighborhood, it eludes you. It hides up a tree, behind the rose bush, or in the garden. However, if you ignore it and focus on what attracts the cat, it comes to you and sits right in your lap. Money isn't attracted to selfish people. It is attracted to businesses that solve problems. It's attracted to people who fill needs and add value. Solve needs massively, and money massively attracts. The amount of money in your life is merely a reflection of the amount of value you have given to others. Ignore this symbiosis and money will ignore you. Successful businesses share one common trait: the satisfaction of consumer needs as reflected by sales in the marketplace. The marketplace and consumers, not you, determine if your business is viable. If you sell 10 million anything, 10 million people have voted that your product will help them or satisfy one of their needs. The only fast lane road that works is a road paved with cement, rock-hard needs, wants, and solutions, not sand. A rock-hard pavement gives you the unfair odds. Solve needs on a massive scale or in magnitude. It could be as fantastic as starting a software company like Bill Gates did, or something seemingly minute like putting a new spin on something old. If you own a website that services 10,000 people a day, you're making an impact. If you own a real estate company that provides housing to 1,000 people, you're making an impact. Make a freaking impact and start providing value. Let money come to you. Look outside the world, stop being selfish, and help your fellow humans solve their problems. In a world of selfishness, become unselfish. Need something more concrete? No problem. Make 1 million people achieve any of the following, and I guarantee you will be worth millions. Make them feel better. Help them solve a problem. Educate them. Make them look better, health, nutrition, clothing, or makeup. Give them security, housing, safety, health. Raise a positive emotion, love, happiness, laughter, self-confidence. Satisfy appetites from basic food to the risque, sexual. Make things easier. Enhance their dreams and give hope. So the next time you're trolling the web looking to make money, sit back and ask yourself, what do I have to offer the world? Offer the world value, and money becomes magnetized to you. Do what you love and die as you do. Beware of another guru speak. Do what you love and the money will follow. Bullshit. That is, unless you want to violate the commandment of need. Do what you love is another mythical decree perpetrated by hypocritical gurus and so-called life coaches who are probably 3 clients away from broke. Sadly, the road of do what you love rarely converges with wealth. In fact, it might lead you down a road to destructive love. If you're like me, do what you love was never an option. Think about what you love and then think, is someone going to pay you for it? Is it going to solve a need? Are you good enough to make money doing it? Most likely, you aren't. For do what you love to work, you need 2 things. Number 1, your love must solve a need. And number 2, you must be exceptional at it. For example, I love to play basketball, but frankly, I suck at it. I can't parlay my love of basketball into a career. I also love to play piano, but again, I suck at it. I love many things, but I suck at them. If I wanted a career in any of these loves, I need unlimited time and money because no one would pay me a dime to do it. Who wants to endure that kind of ineptness? Consider this book. I love to write. This book represents a dream of doing what I love, and that dream was made possible by the Fastlane. If I needed this book to pay for my mortgage, I'm not sure it would. I have no clue if this book will sell 10 copies or 10 million. Therefore, I can't rely on it. Doing what you love for money often isn't good enough because we aren't good enough. Additionally, so many people are doing what they love that the marketplace for that activity is so crowded and margins become depressed and heavy competition reigns. Authoring a book is a crowded space. Just because I love to write doesn't guarantee money will follow. In fact, no one cares that I love to write. Do you? Of course not. You want to know if my writing will help you. In a magazine interview, billionaire R.J. Kirk was asked about the benchmark to his success. He replied, "It is for others to say whether I'm useful or not. It isn't for you to decide whether you are useful. The marketplace makes that determination. People pay for their satisfaction. They don't pay to satisfy your need of do what you love. People pay for solutions, not for your enjoyment. People pay for solved problems. People don't give a dirty dog butt about your love for whatever. If do what you love doesn't fill a need spectacularly, no one's going to pay for it. This book is possible because I didn't need the confirmation of money to authenticate my skill. If that sentence is not too complicated to understand, you get my point. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Regardless of sales, my book is a testament to do what I love, whether I'm good at it or not. The Fastlane allowed money to be removed from the equation. Now I don't need to get paid to do what I love, I just do it. In other words, money led do what you love, it didn't follow. Now how's that for irony? LeBron James gets paid to play basketball because he is good. One of the many destinations of the Fastlane is to remove the confirmation of money from your do-what-you-love activity. Fastlane success means I could play basketball 7 days a week. I could play video games all day. I don't need to get paid to do what I love because now I can do it for free. If you're one of the lucky few who can earn an income from a specific activity that you love and are good enough, kudos to you. And congratulations, you may not even need a fast lane. A slow lane just might suffice. No worries. But for those of us who can't transform our loves into income, there are other alternatives paved by the fast lane. Doing what you love, fakes and derivatives. If you can't work a job or a business doing what you love, you're likely to fall into a trap. Your natural reaction is to make a deal with the devil, the slow lane. You trade your life away doing things you hate in exchange for doing things you love. You say, I'll do 5 days of work I hate so I can enjoy 2 weekend days doing something I love. Does this barter sound like rational thinking? For example, my friend Andy is a bank collections agent and hates his job. At beer time, I hear the complaints, the frustration, and the BS about the job. The Nazi-like micromanagement, the incompetent boss and his psychotic co-workers. He's on the firing line from all fronts. He numbs himself to this suffering 5 days a week. His salvation? His weekend. He pays do what you hate with a weekend of boating, which is his do what you love. Then other people negotiate with do what you love into an alternative or a derivative. For example, Jose loves automotive audio, so he opens a car stereo shop. Janice loves to sculpt and sells her work at the local gallery. Gary is an avid bodybuilder, so he becomes a personal trainer. There are two dangers to derivatives. Number one, they don't make money fast, and number two, they endanger the love. First, do what you love rarely creates money fast because more than likely not only are you doing what you love, but thousands of others love doing the same thing too. I mean, just turn into the first week auditions for American Idol for proof. The need is weak, and this saturates markets and makes profit margins shallow. At my gym, a personal trainer acquaintance told me he's struggling to make ends meet. When I asked why, he responded that personal training is so competitive that he can't charge a price worth his time. His service fees are deflationary, caused by an abundant supply of trainers, and when supply exceeds demand or need, prices move down. Not enough need, too much supply. So why is the field for personal trainers so saturated? Simple. People follow the espoused guru-esque advice without reflection on need. Do what you love. Unfortunately, if you love doing it, bet on thousands of others who also love doing it. When you do what you love, prepared to face stiff competition. Who enjoys higher margins, the personal trainer or the guy who starts a company to clean up crime scenes? The second danger of derivatives is that your love becomes vulnerable to contamination when you do it for money. If you are forced to do anything, even something you purport to love in exchange for a paycheck, that love is put in danger. Years ago, I took a job as a limo driver because I loved to drive. By the time the job ended, I hated to drive. After work, I'd stay home because I was so sick of driving. My love was contaminated. I once had a friend who created fantastic paintings as a hobby. When I asked her why she doesn't paint full-time for a living, her answer was simple. I paint when I am impassioned to paint. The few times when she painted for money, it stunted her artistic creativity because a different force fueled the motivation. Money, not emotion from the moment. Do what you love is left to professional athletes because they're at the pinnacle of their games. And yet, even after making millions, many of these athletes suffer the same fate. They lose their love of the game. Dancers lose their love of dance. Artists lose their love for art. Money and the demands of life cast a cloud over the love and darken it into a burden. While derivatives of do what you love might yield a figment of happiness, they operate in saturated marketplaces, and more importantly, they could jeopardize your natural love for the activity. Your ignition, moving from love to passion. The motivational fuel for the fast lane is passion, not love. Passion gets you out of the garage and onto the road. If you have a passion for a specific goal, you will do anything for it. I had a passion for Lamborghinis, and I was willing to do anything for it. Pick up dog shit, mop floors, work at 3 a.m, whatever it was going to take, I had the passion to do it. Did I love driving limos? Hell no. But I had a fast lane passion, and it motivated my movement to the vision of the future. Your vehicle needs an ignition, a starter, something that compels you to jump out of bed in the morning, challenged to tackle the day. That ignition is passion. You need a passion for something greater. It is different for everybody, but when you find it, you will do anything for it. When you reposition your goals and visions at the end of a road that works, that end transforms your daily life into passionate action toward that specified destination. If you can't get paid doing some specific activity, identify a specific why or end goal that ignites your passion to act. What is your why? Why are you doing this? Why go fast lane? What are your reasons? Whom do you want to prove wrong? What exactly are your whys? My whys read like this. I want to pay off my mother's mortgage. I want to wake up without an alarm clock. I want to write a book without the pressure of money. I want a big house on a mountainside with a pool. I want a Lamborghini. I want to make a difference. I want to prove him wrong. Passion beats do what you love because passion fuels motivation for something greater than yourself and is often generalized. When the focus is doing what you love, the focus becomes industry specific and you're likely to violate the commandment of need. Why are you starting this business? Because you love it or because there is a real market need for it? I repeat, passion for an end goal, a why, drives fast lane action. Mike Rowe, host of the cable show dirty jobs, profiled several owners of businesses who had less than lovable duties. From testing bovine manure to cleaning up pigeon goop, the owners were passionate. None of them loved what they did, but they had a passionate why and a very deep bank account. Competition was sparse because everyone else was chasing do what you love. A formidable why is all you need to turn your daily activities into passionate motivation, the get up in the morning metamorphosis to bust open a fast lane road. What are your whys, and are they strong enough to motivate you into process? Passion erases the suffering of work. When I was in startup mode with my business, I worked long hours. Was I suffering the toil of work? Nope, I enjoyed it, because I had my whys and I was moving toward them. The journey hardened me, challenged me, and yes, it was even fun. I was passionate about what I wanted and I was going to get it. The fast lane isn't a destination, but a personal journey. Writing this book has been an enduring journey, and I admit I gave up 3 times. Why? After a year of writing and not finishing, my love for writing evaporated. My love became a hate. I was doing what I love, and suddenly that love faded because people started to expect a book. I confided to a friend, I quit. I no longer enjoy it, and I don't need to finish it. So how did I finish if my love for writing evaporated? I found my passion, which compelled me to finish. I love to see the dreams of others become reality. When a dead dream is given sudden life, I feel invigorated. Anytime I wanted to give up, I'd receive an email that applauded me. Your forum changed my life, or thank you, my life has really turned around. That is passionate currency that repositioned my writing effort into action. I went from love to suffering to passion. Get your road to converge with a fantastic dream. A road that doesn't converge with your dreams is a dead end. When you concede dreams, life withers. Reflect back to childhood when you heard, what do you want to be when you grow up? Underneath this question, what's it really asking? It's a probe to find the road to your dreams, and it usually is answered in a phantasmal vision. For me, I wanted to be an astronaut, blame Han Solo, a filmmaker, blame George Lucas, and an author, blame Isaac Asimov. So how about you? What is your outrageous, fantastic dream? And the real question of concern, is there any chance you are doing it or will be doing it? More than likely, you're not, because the slow lane has killed it. I asked my friend Rick this question. Guess what? He didn't answer the question with, I want to be a sales representative at Verizon Wireless. Nope. He answered with, I want to be a race car driver. So then, why is Rick selling cell phones today? Is there any chance in hell he will actually become his dream, a race car driver? There isn't. The dream is dead and the road is derelict. Nonetheless, as Rick sticks to his job and waits for a promotion, he wonders, there's got to be more than this. And then there's Sarah. She didn't answer this question with, I want to be a shift manager at Taco Bell. Nope, she wanted to be an artist. But today, Sarah finds herself working the graveyard shift, mopping up floors in the dining room from slobs who have mistaken sour cream for finger paint. As she slams the mop head in the wringer, Sarah has a moment of disquiet. Is this what my life has become? The problem with these people is not their jobs. We've all had crappy, embarrassing jobs that we hate. The problem is their dead-end road that will never converge with a dream. Dreams are forsaken to pay the bills. Instead of a convergent road to dreams or a chance of a dream, their road goes to an inescapable hell. Life becomes suffering. There is nothing wrong with working at Verizon or Taco Bell. Heck, these jobs would have been promotions in comparison to the meaningless jobs I've held. But please, don't make these jobs your means to the end, your final road, because the end most likely will never come. You see, if your dream is dead, so is your passion. No passion numbs you to the greatest violinist in the world while he plays in the train depot. No passion leads to mediocrity and the land of everybody. If you're struggling for motivation, re-energize your dream and align it with a road capable of burning a trail to its reality. Dead dreams can't burn trails of passion. Passion fires your will to do what is necessary beyond what others can't. Fastlaners work unlike everyone else so they can live unlike everyone else. Take 4 years of hard work in exchange for 40 years of freedom. Unfortunately, most people take 40 years of hard work for 4 weeks of freedom, or however long their paid vacation lasts. Find your snow in the toilet. How do you find your passion? Passion comes from excitement or discontent. Take this story posted on the Fastlane forum.
I grew up in a poor family and lived in a very old rundown barn that had half of it converted into a home. One of the worst times of the year was winter because our water pipes would freeze, and with it, our running water. The only way to flush the toilet was to bring snow into the barn, pack it into the water tank behind the toilet, and wait for it to melt. I saw that my mom had to put snow in the tank of the toilet bowl just for us to flush. The worst part that it had to be refilled every time someone used the toilet. I thought to myself, I never want to live like this again.
What is your passion, your perennial snow in the toilet?
Leslie Walburn is passionate about animals. Disillusioned by county-owned shelters that euthanize dogs, her dream is to own a no-kill dog rescue shelter. While she can do what she loves and get a job at a shelter, it doesn't bring her closer to her dreams, nor will a job help her amass the wealth needed to pursue the dream. Yes, dog shelters are expensive. Instead, Leslie allows her passion to fuel her motivation. She starts a Fastlane business, unrelated to animals, that eventually funds her dream. Her passion leads to a dream without the crucible of money.
Reflect on a time when your life was turned upside down with excitement and/or discontent. That is your passion. For me, excited passion was when I saw my first Lamborghini as a teenager, and I decided, one day I will own a Lamborghini. For me, discontented passion was watching my mother struggle in dead-end jobs trying to raise 3 kids without a husband. Both fueled my passion. I wanted a Lamborghini and I wanted to help ease the burden for my mother. Excitement, wants and desires, serves as passionate fuel, as does discontent, undesirable situations. Both allowed me to do what others wouldn't, and if you find yours too, you will too. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. The commandment of need states that businesses that solve needs win. Needs can be pain points, service gaps, unsolved problems, or emotional disconnects. 90% of all new businesses fail because they are based on selfish internal needs, not external market needs. No one cares about your selfish desires for dreams or money. People only want to know, what can your business do for them? Money chasers haven't broken free from selfishness, and their businesses often follow their own selfish needs. People vote for your business with their money. Chase money and it will elude you. However, if you ignore it and focus on what attracts money, you will draw it to yourself. Help 1 million people and you will be a millionaire. For money to follow, do what you love, your love must solve a need and you must be exceptional at it. Do what you love sets the stage for crowded marketplaces with depressed margins. When you have the financial resources, you can do what you love and not get paid for it, nor do you have to be good at it. Slow laners feed do what you love and do what you hate. 5 days of hate for 2 days of love. Doing what you love for money can endanger your love. Passion for an end goal, a why, drives Fastlane success. Having a passionate why can transform work into joy. Doing what you love usually leads to the violation of the commandment of need. The right road for you is one that will converge with your dreams. Chapter 31, The Commandment of Entry. Our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When a man does not know what harbor he is making for, no wind is the right wind. Seneca. You can be the sheep or the sheep herder. It was 1994 and I was stuffed in a hot auditorium, tucked away in a chaotic mass of people, an ant submersed in an anthill. Months earlier I had become involved in a network marketing company, and this was their monthly motivational meeting. The crowd was excited, anxious, and revved up. I wasn't. I looked around and saw a problem. I saw an army of drones clutching on to whatever was said, critical reasoning cast aside, and myself about to be indoctrinated. I didn't go easy. I asked questions. I was persistent, nosy, and curious about the road I was about to take. How much money are you making? I asked early and often. But like politicians, the answer was sideswiped and deflected to a default person in the organization. But I wasn't fooled. Okay, you've already told me that Bill Hansen is making $30,000 a month, but how much do you make? And you, and the other 3,000 people in this room? The fact is, few of them made any money at all. Why? They were stuck driving a congested road full of traffic that failed the commandment of entry. Crowded, jam roads move slowly, if at all. Commandment of entry. I failed network marketing 4 times because subconsciously I possessed the truth. The road was a violation of the commandment of entry. The commandment of entry states that as entry barriers to any business road fall or lessen, the effectiveness of that road declines while competition in that field subsequently strengthens. Higher entry barriers equate to stronger, more powerful roads with less competition and less need for exceptionality. Lower barrier entry businesses are weak roads because easy entry creates high competition and high traffic, all of which share the same pie. And where there is traffic, there is no movement. In other words, if getting into business is as simple as paying $200 for a distributor kit, there are no entry barriers, and the opportunity should be passed. If any Joe Blow napping behind Chan's Chinese restaurant in the alley next to the dumpster can start your business in minutes, it isn't a business you want to be doing. The world is littered with so-called businesses that have no entry barriers, and that is why they suck, and the people who follow them aren't rich. A decade ago, the big buzz was make millions on eBay. It didn't last long because this opportunity eventually violated the commandment of entry. If you could create a business on eBay in 10 minutes, guess what? So could millions of other people. And who made the millions? The early adopters, eBay and eBay's founders. They drove the fast lane and picked up millions of hitchhikers along the way. Few did well, while millions did not. The big buzz just months ago was internet blogging. Bloggers are making thousands. True, but nowadays the multimillionaire blogger is now the exception rather than the rule. Why? The opportunity has been beaten down by ease of entry, causing traffic, competition, and saturation. Saturation causes noise. Noise causes declining sales volumes. Declining sales volumes cause profit erosion. If anyone can start a business in 1 day or less doing what you do, you probably are violating the commandment of entry, and tough odds are ahead. Network marketing or multi-level marketing, MLM, always fails the commandment of entry unless you own and create the MLM company yourself. If you're in a room with 2,000 other people who do exactly what you do, you're fighting stiff odds. Who is the innovator, the leader, and the one standing on the cliff parting the Red Sea? The guy on the stage who founded the MLM company is the Fastlaner. And you? Sorry, but you're just another soldier in his Fastlane army, a cog in his marketing strategy. The MLM founder doesn't need to climb the pyramid because he built the pyramid. You could be the pyramid climber or the pyramid builder, or you can be the sheep or the sheep herder. Exceptionalism is required to overcome weak entry. If you violate the commandment of entry, be prepared to be exceptional. Exceptionality breaks the odds of entry. Unfortunately, exceptionality is a long shot, much like an above-average high school athlete going pro. For example, when I sat in that auditorium with thousands of other network marketers, I realized that to exceed among thousands doing the same thing, I had to be exceptional. I had to be the best. Honest with myself, I knew I couldn't be exceptional in that construct. Could I be the exceptional one among 50,000 like-minded distributors? I was doubtful. Conversely, when I started my internet business, I had roughly 12 competitors. Could I be exceptional among 12? Absolutely. Another example of exceptionality is playing professional poker and financial trading, like stocks, futures, and currency trading. Both disciplines violate entry and have little to no restrictions to access. I can go to Vegas with $10,000 and enter a poker tournament anytime I want. I can deposit $10,000 in a trading account and start trading currency. Lack of entry itself creates the marketplace, and to succeed in that marketplace, you have to be exceptional. The best and the richest poker players in the world are exceptional and take advantage of the weakest lured by weak entry. The pros call these folks dead money. The same playing field exists in the currency markets. Newbies come and go, trading currencies, expecting to make a fortune, while the only folks making the millions are the exceptional participants and the purveyors of the field, like the currency platforms, brokerage houses, and poker websites. There's an old saying, in a gold rush, don't dig for gold, sell shovels. When it comes to entry, your industry and your business should not be available to everyone, because if it is, you must be prepared to be exceptional. And if you're exceptional, easy entry becomes not a liability, but an asset. Entry is a process, not an event. Want to know if your business violates entry? The answer is another simple question. Is getting into business an event or a process? Real business startups are processes, not events. If you're suddenly in business because you bought a distributor kit or you completed an online form, you're violating entry. If you're suddenly in business because you took 1 or 2 actions, you violate entry. Conversely, if I wanted to start a bed and breakfast in Napa Valley, I'd have to find a property, fix it, finance it, insure it, get licensing and permits, hire a staff, and perform about 10 other steps. Entry is a detailed process. Starting a business like wealth is a concerted series of choices that form process. Founders of network marketing companies do spectacularly well because they know that people love events. And what better event is there than complete this application and you're in business? They leverage entry ease as an advantage. As entrepreneurs, we want to start companies that others can join as an event. Don't fool yourself. Mailing a check to some address listed in the back of an entrepreneur magazine isn't a business embryo. Any business that takes 10 minutes to do, join, participate, violates entry. Violate entry and you stamp your ticket into the world of everyone and become a part of someone else's Fastlane plan. Everyone is doing it. Ever get stuck in traffic on the expressway and just go nowhere for hours? Welcome to Everyone is Doing It. A road full of traffic is a road full of everyone. If everyone is doing it, I won't be doing it. I'll exit the road and you should too. Why? Because everyone isn't wealthy. If everyone were wealthy, everyone is doing it would work. When it comes to money, the best warning flag is everyone. Everyone is a red flag that the commandment of entry has been violated. If everyone is engaged in the same activity, it surely will fail. While everyone was buying houses like crazy during the housing boom, I did the opposite. I sat on the sidelines and sold. When the frenzy is buying, you should be selling. When the frenzy is selling, you should be buying or staying pat. History is littered with everyone is doing it booms and busts. In the last decade alone, including the tech stock boom of the late 90s and the great oil price explosion, and more recently the housing bust that led to the worldwide financial meltdown, these are perfect examples of everyone is doing it. Everyone is doing it is a heavily trafficked road that moves slowly toward impending doom, like a herd of lambs heading for slaughter. The warning signs of everyone. In the late 90s, when tech stocks were skyrocketing, I lost money because I followed everyone. I learned. During the latest housing boom, I didn't buy a house. No, this time I sold 3 properties before the decline. While the housing market collapsed and stocks soon followed, I was long gone and sitting in cash. How did I know? I spotted the signs of everyone is doing it, because if everyone were rich, everyone is doing it would work. While this logic might seem spurious, it has never failed me. How do I know when everyone is doing it? Simple. When there is irrational exuberance about any investment that pervades the team consumer, the general populace, that's when I know it's time to get out and stay out. When the plumber comes over to fix the toilet and raves about his 3 rental properties that have appreciated 15% in the last 3 months, it's time to get out and stay out. When your personal trainer friend raves about his internet stock portfolio that earned 40% in the last 2 months, it's time to get out and stay out. When your truck driving cousin calls you and asks you about investing in oil because it's $150 a barrel, it's time to get out and stay out. Dumb money, everyone, always shows up at the end of a boom. Who is dumb money? Consumers, money chasers. And some shrewd people, they've mastered the rule of everyone. Instead of getting out, they short the other side and profit from the downfall. With every busted boom, new millionaires and billionaires are created because they saw the impending collapse inevitable in every meteoric, irrational ascension. When the stock market imploded in 2009, everyone was selling. I was long gone and sold a year earlier. Warren Buffett was buying. Everyone sells and the richest man in the world buys. Could it be that everyone is wrong? Yes, it could. If you want to live unlike everyone, you can't be like everyone. Don't confuse that with exceptionality. You have to lead the pack and have everyone follow. When the lambs are lining up single file for slaughter, you want to own the slaughterhouse. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. The commandment of entry states that as entry barriers fall, competition rises as the road weakens. Easy access roads carry more traffic. More traffic generates higher competition, and higher competition creates lower margins for the participants. Businesses with weak entry often lack control and operate in saturated marketplaces. Exceptionalism is required to overcome weak entry barriers. Access to a business road should be a process with a toll, not an event. Everyone consists of the general populace and is served by the mainstream media. If everyone were wealthy, everybody is doing it would work. And if everybody is wealthy, then no one is wealthy. Everyone is doing it is a signal to overbought conditions and the entrance of dumb money. Chapter 32, The Commandment of Control. There is no dependence that can be sure but a dependence on oneself. John Gay. Demand the driver's seat. Yes or no, you're either driving the fast lane or you aren't. You're either in control of your financial plan or you aren't. There is no in between. And if you're not driving, you're sitting in the passenger seat and someone else is in control. Envision your dream car, boat, or plane. Great. Now here are the keys. You get it for 1 hour, unencumbered. Would you grab those keys and take it for a joyride using every single minute? Or would you plop your butt down in the passenger seat and resign, you take control. I'll sit here in the passenger seat and hitchhike a ride. Senseless? Not exactly. This is how many people approach business. They hitchhike, they give up the driver's seat, and they violate the commandment of control. In doing so, they sacrifice control over their financial plan and ultimately make someone else rich. Hitchhiking a fast lane. While hitchhikers of life tread the sidewalk and are victims, the hitchhikers of business violate the commandment of control. A business hitchhiker seeks refuge from risk and cowers within the confines of a matriarchal organization. This subservient relationship renders a loss of control and leaves you vulnerable to actions of the driver. When you control your business, you control everything in your business, your organization, your products, your pricing, your revenue model, and your operational choices. If you can't control every aspect of your company, you're not driving. And if you can't drive, you set up yourself for sudden, unexpected crashes. Fast lane drivers retain control. Those who violate the commandment do not. Here are some general examples. Drivers create MLM companies. They don't join them. Drivers sell franchises. They don't buy them. Drivers offer affiliate programs. They don't join them. Drivers run hedge funds. They don't invest in them. Drivers sell stock. They don't buy stock. Drivers offer drop shipping. They don't use drop shipping. Drivers offer employment. They don't get employed. Drivers accept rents and royalties. They don't pay rents and royalties. Drivers sell licenses. They don't buy licenses. Drivers sell IPO shares. They don't buy them. So are you driving a fast lane or hitchhiking one? Now, if this hitchhiker description describes you, don't get discouraged or defensive. You can't be a driver in every instance. Heck, even I engage in hitchhiking activities. Fastlane hitchhikers can make good money, sometimes boatloads. However, understand this. The driver retains control and makes the big money. At best, the hitchhiker makes good money. Good money versus big money. There's a difference between good money, big money, and legendary money. Good money is making $20,000 a month. The cattle call of every network marketing company is, hey, you want to make $10,000 a month? Big deal. Remember, your windshield. It's big money only in your head. That's decent money, but nothing that's going to put you into a private jet and a 40-foot yacht on Newport Beach. Big money is $200,000 a month. Now we're talking. $200,000 every month will make a dent into your lifestyle. When you earn this level of income, life does change. And then there, of course, is legendary money, where you can earn more than $1 million every month. Outrageous? Not at all. When you leverage all 5 commandments and control your company, $1 million a month is not impossible. To hit big money or legendary money, you need to control your system and every aspect of that system. When you relinquish control and defer power to a higher authority, you cede big money to the driver and accept good money as the passenger. For example, my website offered an affiliate program. My best affiliate consistently earned $20,000 a month. Yes, he was making good money. He was the hitchhiking passenger and I was the driver controlling the affiliate process. However, think about the danger he assumed. At any moment, I could have instituted a new policy that would have reduced his earnings. I drove his income stream and he absorbed the risk that I wouldn't disturb, alter, or modify the affiliate agreement. And most importantly, as the driver, I was the one making big money, $200,000 a month, while he settled for good money, $20,000 a month. Similarly, you might have heard of the unique group of internet entrepreneurs called AdSense millionaires. Google AdSense is an advertiser network that online content publishers leverage to earn income from their website's traffic. There are affiliates, bloggers, and publishers who earn good money from using Google's AdSense program. Some content providers and bloggers earn six figures monthly. Arguably, this is big money, yet Google, the driver, makes the legendary money. No control equals crashes. Think about the dangers of hitchhiking. You get into some stranger's car and you let them drive. Hitchhiking a fast lane is an incredible risk, especially when your family is the cargo. My experience has repeated itself for countless entrepreneurs who learned the hard way. Here's some background. My forum leverages the Google advertising network, which pays revenue for ad clicks that evolve from my forum. It's a hitchhiking relationship. Google is the driver and my forum is the passenger. A thread at my forum discussed an ebook marketing program. As the thread progressed, the joke was made about a former bankrupt NBA player, and long story short, the folks at Google claimed the content violated their terms. My ads were terminated, and the revenue stopped immediately. Now imagine if this forum and the Google revenue were responsible for feeding my family. Imagine if I relied on it. Imagine if I was earning $15,000 a month from these ads, and in one big swoop, it was gone. No control, no say, no power. It took me 8 days to resolve the problem, and it exposed the dangers of hitchhiking a fast lane as a passenger versus driving it. For those 8 days, my income from that activity was zero. In any driver-hitchhiker relationship, the driver always makes more money than the hitchhiker and retains a critical component to fast lane strategy: control. I can't imagine running a company in which another entity has the power to instantaneously kill your revenue stream. If someone can flip a switch and destroy your business, you're playing roulette with your financial plan. The congenital danger of hitchhiking is that you relinquish control to the driver. And if the driver crashes into the wall, guess who goes with them? You. The problem with being a hitchhiker is you really never know the driver. The driver could be ethical, moral, and just, or the driver could be corrupt and evil. Either way, as a hitchhiker, you waive all power to your driver. He who owns the keys owns the power. Yet millions of people submit to this type of organizational control without pause. They sign franchise agreements giving control over crucial business decisions, including marketing, ads, and royalties. They join distributorships in which others dictate their compensation structure. Their product funnel is directed by a centralized source. They're told like automatons what they can and can't do. They're held hostage to a corporate patriarch, not realizing that they really aren't their own boss. If you can't change your product, are you the boss? If you can't change your price, are you the boss? If you can't influence marketing decisions, are you the boss? Years ago, I joined a network marketing company. I had a friend who earned good money. Ultimately, the company changed its product line and compensation structure. My friend's income stream was disrupted and eventually disappeared. The asset he created, his downline and cash flow stream, vaporized in a matter of months. My friend had no control, despite claiming that he owned his own business. His mistake was to violate the commandment of control. He never had the keys to his business, and his empire was nothing but a mirage founded on a false foundation governed by a political party in which he had no voice. When drivers make radical turns and change terms, you have no choice but to go with them. If it's the cliff of bankruptcy or criminal neglect, their sinking ship becomes yours. Do you really want to engage in a business relationship like this? Think shark, not guppy. If you lived in an aquarium, would you rather be the shark or the guppy? Sharks eat, guppies get eaten. Business is a fierce competition for the consumer's mind and their money. It's an expansive ocean where multiple species wage war over sustenance, money. In this oceanic game, you want to be at the top of the food chain, not at the bottom fighting your way up the top. Build corporate ladders, don't join them. Build pyramid organizations, don't join them. Think manufacture, not retail. To become a shark, you have to think like one. Sharks think big and guppies think small. As a shark, you have to drill down into your belief system and change your mindset. Think globally, not locally. Think to lead, not to follow. Think to innovate, not to copy. The transformation from guppy to shark starts with your thoughts as your focus moves from the few to the many. When you engage your fast lane road, be the shark and use the entire ocean as your playground. Ever watch a school of fish? Each fish doesn't act as a single unit. They act in unison as a collective. Unfortunately, most people can't see the danger of this analogy. They're just one fish immersed in a collective controlled by a force greater than themselves. And who is attracted to these schools of fish? The sharks. Be the shark, the predator, not the guppy. Be a driver, not a hitchhiker. Invest in your brand only. Whose money tree are you growing? Are you investing in your brand or in someone else's? Ever sit in traffic and spot a car plastered with decals and stickers of some company? From network marketing companies selling acai drinks to one of the largest makeup companies in the country, these decals are official decrees to the world from the driver. Yes, folks, I invest my life into someone else's brand. They're guppies in a shark-infested ocean. I recently had a middle-aged woman drive up to me in my gym's parking lot. She stopped and asked me about my Lamborghini and its vanity license plate. Then she opened a Pandora's box and asked, "Do you do any network marketing?" Before I unloaded, I glanced at the car she was driving. She drove a rusty old Hyundai that needed new tires and a paint job. The rear window was missing, unless of course you believe duct tape suffices as an adequate replacement to glass. The side doors were plastered with decals and magnetized signs exclaiming the greatness of her network marketing company. Make a huge income from home. I wondered, how could she advertise, make a huge income from home, when obviously she isn't earning a huge income from home? I respectfully asked her why she invests in a business that she doesn't control. Why are you painting someone else's big picture when you should be painting your own? She smiled, raised her dream stealer defenses, and rejected my analysis. As if what she was doing was working and reasonable, her mind was closed to my suggestions. That's fine. Keep doing what you're doing and see if that gets you where you want to go. Don't listen to me. You came up to me, and I'm the one who's retired and living the dream. I know that sounds arrogant and pretentious, and I apologize, but logic eludes most people. When you blindly invest your life and your time into someone else's brand, you become a part of their marketing plan. You become a swab of paint in their big picture. You resign yourself to the slim possibility of making good money versus big money. Not investing in my own brand was one of the most serious mistakes I made as a young entrepreneur. Hitchhiking a fast lane is an epidemic that deceives many would-be entrepreneurs. And I say would-be because hitchhiking isn't entrepreneurial, because at the heart of entrepreneurship is creation and innovation. Hitchhikers aren't pioneers. They don't create or innovate. They sell, operate, and manage. If the driver decides to close up shop, you're out of luck. If the driver decides to discontinue a product and it's your sole source of income, you're out of luck. Fastlaners control their brands, their properties, and their financial plans. They don't blindly give it to others and hope for the best. Network marketing as a fast lane. Only if. Network marketing is a fast lane, but only if you own the network marketing company. As a fast laner, you want to create these companies, not join them. I have a lot of Facebook friends who are spiritedly engaged in network marketing. I don't espouse my world vision on them because they have to see it for themselves. If they truly believe that $20,000 a month is a great income, let them believe it. If they truly believe that their income stream will be passive forever, let them believe it. If they truly believe that they are in control, let them believe it. These people have to see the truth on their own. It took me 4 network marketing companies to expose the truth. And that truth, the only people in the company who are living in houses on the Pacific Ocean with a stable full of exotic cars were the founders in the inner circle, not the distributors who signed up years later. I don't hide my discontent for network marketing, although the reason for my discontent is often misconstrued. Network marketing is a hitchhiking strategy that disguises itself as an entrepreneurial activity. My discontent lies in the misconception. Millions fall for the pitches such as be your own boss or own your own company or passive residual income. While there is a small sliver of validity to these claims, they cloud the real essence of MLM, which is sales, distribution, and training, not entrepreneurship. I was involved in 4 MLM companies. Not once do I remember dictating product decisions, research and development, marketing restrictions, rules, cost analysis, or anything else fundamental to owning a business. As a network marketer, you don't own a business. You own a job managing and creating a sales organization. That's like stuffing money under the mattress and calling it an investment. Years ago, I had friends who did well in MLM, and some of them still do. Heck, I even did okay. But two things always nagged at me. First, I had no control. I was at the mercy of the company, its policies, its procedures, its product line, its cost structure, and whatever mandate they set forth. I'd be stuck with it. I remembered when my company discontinued its best product and my income plummeted through no fault of my own. My friend who was making a nice living at MLM, he quit due to opposition over corporate decisions, and from what I hear, every few years he jumps from opportunity to opportunity. He continually repeats the cycle. Climb aboard some hot opportunity, run it dry, and move to the next. Last I checked, he isn't rich, nor is he retired. He's not stuck in a rat race, but a rabbit race from one carrot to the next. The second nag at my mind was clear. I didn't feel like an entrepreneur. I felt like a worker bee stuck in a chaotic hive. I felt like an employee of a large company that was benefiting from the fruit of my hard work, even when hours of that hard work yielded few dollars. My essence knew I was violating a multitude of commandments and rules. The rule of everyone, the commandment of entry, and the commandment of control. My dislike for the model lies in the misdirection conveyed to would-be participants. They think they're entrepreneurs when they're just salespeople and sales managers in a fastlaner's plan. Now, can these folks make a huge chunk of change? Of course. I don't argue that fact. Top salespeople in Fortune 500 companies also make a lot of money. Lottery winners also make a lot of money. We're talking odds here, not absolutes. MLM distributors are commissioned employees disguised as entrepreneurs and working for a fastlaner in a regime they don't control, but the fastlaner does. Network marketers are soldiers in a fastlaner's army. So now let me be clear to all those MLM folks out there ready to hang me. I love network marketing as an entrepreneur. If I ever want to invent a product that needs distribution, network marketing would be my first consideration. Furthermore, MLM has excellent educational value, sales, motivation, team building, and networking. Network marketing can accelerate your future. As for my friend, he's a hitchhiker of the fast lane. What he doesn't realize is that to fully exploit the fast lane road, you don't join a network marketing company, you create it. You must be the creator of the company that people are dying to join. You must be the controller of policy and product and the producer. The Fastlaner creates and invests in his own brand. The hitchhiker climbs aboard someone else's and hopes to piggyback a ride. If you don't control your system, your money tree, and your brand, you control nothing. You must sit atop of the pyramid and serve the masses. Stop climbing pyramids and start building them. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. Hitchhikers relinquish control over their business to a fastlaner. There's a difference between good money and big money. Hitchhikers can make good money while fastlaners make big money, sometimes legendary money. In a driver-hitchhiker relationship, the driver always retains control and the hitchhiker is at the mercy of the driver. Hitchhikers are a party to someone else's fastlane plan. Make the world your habitat of play in an organization you control. Network marketing has little to do with entrepreneurship, but more to do with sales, networking, training, and motivation. Network marketing fails both the commandments of control and entry, and sometimes need. Network marketers are soldiers in a fastlaner's army. Network marketing is a powerful distribution system. As a fastlaner, seek to own one, not join one. Chapter 33, The Commandment of Scale. In business, to be a success, you only have to be right once. Mark Cuban. Speed limit, 15 or 150. When your business road violates the commandment of scale, wealth acceleration is incarcerated within constricting speed limits. Drive any road with a speed limit of 15 and you aren't going to get anywhere fast. Scale is about leverage, and leverage is what gives the Fastlane wealth equation its power. The commandment of scale. Business leverage is like a playing field or a habitat of water. You can choose to inhabit the ocean or a pool at the local park. There are 6 business habitats. Local community, the pool. County city, the pond. Statewide, the lagoon. Regional, the lake. National, the sea. Worldwide, the ocean. Scale is difficult to find locally or in a pool that fits only a small number of people. Sure, it can be done, but it requires magnitude, and magnitude doesn't come cheap. If you own a tanning salon, your habitat is local. If you own an upscale restaurant, your habitat is the county or city. If you own an internet company, your habitat is worldwide. The larger the habitat, the greater the potential speed or leverage of your fast lane. Swing for home runs, not singles. Billionaire Mark Cuban recently wrote on his blog that it doesn't matter how many times you strike out in business because you only have to be right once, and that once can set you up for life. In other words, be in the business of home runs. Business is like baseball. Play on a field where you can hit home runs. Don't play on a field where they're prohibited. For example, if you own a clothing boutique on Main Street, you violate the commandment of scale because your pool of customers is drawn from the local trading area. To break scale, the business owner needs to introduce leverage in the form of replication, open more stores, sell franchises, or sell on the internet. Unfortunately, most entrepreneurs engage in singles-only businesses. Their playing field is stunted. Their road screams, speed limit, 15. The home run is impossible and their habitat shriveled. If you're a massage therapist, you won't awake one day and have 10,000 patrons outside your door. There simply is no leverage. And if you don't have leverage in the fast lane wealth equation, you don't have a chance. The commandment of scale is like a toll booth on the road to the law of affection. The fast lane wealth equation, disarmed. When you violate the commandment of scale, you disarm the fast lane wealth equation and demote its power to slow lane status. We call the fast lane wealth equation. Wealth equals net profit plus asset value. Asset value is predicated on net profit, which is predicated by unit profit multiplied by units sold. Net profit equals units sold times unit profit. If units sold has a ceiling, you handcuff your ability to create leverage. Without leverage, you can't create wealth exponentially. When you travel a business road incapable of scale, you render the fast lane wealth equation impotent. My favorite example is the guy who buys a popular sandwich franchise in his local neighborhood. This business violates the commandment of scale because the variables, units sold and unit profit, are implicitly limited. How many sandwiches can this guy humanly sell in one day? 50? 100? How many hours are in the day? 24? See the similarity? The objective of units sold is to have an upper limit greater than 100. How about 1,000? How about 10,000? Or 100,000? Is there anything this sandwich shop owner can do to sell more sandwiches in one day? Under his current structure, there isn't. He is limited in scale to his local trading area. He'll never sell a cold cut combo to a man living in Australia, let alone the neighboring city. Scale is limited, causing this road to have a constricting speed limit, just like a slow lane road. To make matters worse, the other end of the equation is also limited, unit profit. What is the maximum unit profit on a sandwich and a drink? $2? Again, we are operating under a ceiling of low numbers. These numbers don't transcend wealth, they limit wealth. Now let me clarify before you hammer me over the head. I'm not suggesting that a local restaurant owner can't get rich. In fact, I know a few restaurant owners who do quite well, except they operate in a different class of restaurant. Upscale establishments where scale and magnitude have more reach. If your average dinner bill is $200 and you draw patrons from all over the city, not just the local neighborhood, you operate on a different scale. Unit profit isn't $2 a sandwich, but $40 a person, and with alcohol, it climbs to $60. Reach or magnitude equals scale. To achieve scale, magnitude or reach must increase. Magnitude is naturally increased with price or cost. If you sell Lamborghinis over Hyundais, you have greater magnitude simply by the implicit price of Lamborghinis. You are near affection. Lamborghini owners most likely exploit the law of affection. If you are a real estate agent for the rich and sell multi-million-dollar estates, you achieve magnitude implicit by price. Higher prices and cost implicitly drive magnitude. If you successfully sell the most expensive apartment building in Manhattan, you have had an effect of magnitude and realize scale. If you are operating with magnitude, you are near or at affection. Reach, exclusive of magnitude, also achieves scale. Reach is massive numbers. The more people you reach, the greater scale potential. Who does your business serve? The local neighborhood or the world? The bigger your pool of play, the bigger your potential for wealth. The guy stuck on Main Street selling sandwiches has no scale and no magnitude. Is there anything this guy can do to turn his $40,000 a year profit into $400,000? Nope. He's done before he even started. He didn't buy a franchise, he bought a job. He will never get rich until he wakes up and realizes that scale is not reached by selling $1 margin sandwiches to 100 people a day. Scale is leverage. The commandment of scale demands a business that maximizes the Fastlane wealth equation. Give the law of affection a chance. Give wealth a chance. How do you know if your business or potential business honors the commandment of scale? Here are some questions you can ask. Can the net income of this business scale limitlessly, say from $2,000 a month to $200,000 a month? Can the asset value of this business scale into the millions? Can this business impact millions? Or does it impact hundreds? Is its customer pool the world or a small community in the city? Can this business be replicated and expanded beyond the local trading area by franchising, chaining, or additional units? Best case scenario, what is the units sold potential? 100 or 100 million? Best case scenario, how pliable is unit profit? Does it have magnitude? If you can't affirm these questions, you might be stuck in a restrictive business where wealth creation is stifled. Tiny habitats create tiny wealth. Scale is large numbers. Think big, nationally and globally. Big numbers or scale is the inroad to the law of affection. To make millions, you must affect millions. This doesn't happen in a small store on Main Street, but in hundreds of stores across the country. Drive affection's neighborhood. A wealth-seeking friend of mine asked if I thought buying a coffee franchise was a good idea. I said no. My answer shocked him because he played the be your own boss drum. I didn't like the idea because the gateway into the law of affection was barricaded. The problem? His goal was financial freedom. If this was his goal, owning a coffee franchise in the local community probably wasn't going to do the trick. With a coffee shop, he has no access to the law of affection. Selling 100 lattes a day simply won't make an impact in either scale or magnitude. And since he didn't want to own 20 of these franchises, but just one, he was barricading himself from the law. Road closed. If you can't access the law of affection, you won't get rich. The conduit to all wealth is via the law of affection. For the slow laner, the law of affection has to be hit by massive intrinsic value explosion. Sing in front of millions, entertain millions, play ball in front of millions. And yet, for the fast laner, the law of affection is leveraged by scale or asset value explosion. Sell millions, help millions, serve millions, impact millions. Law of affection barricades. There are 3 barricades that prevent entrepreneurs from realizing the law of affection: scale, magnitude, and source. The strongest barricade to affection is scale. If you can't serve millions, you won't make millions. Returning to my friend's coffee shop example, his units sold variable within the Fastlane wealth equation is restricted because his cafe is confined to the local community. His sales are mathematically caged to a stiff number. Scale is absent. He will never sell coffee to someone in New Zealand. A business that lacks scale acts like a car with a speed governor that prevents acceleration. My friend's only option to break scale would be to purchase more franchises in more locations. If he owned 29 franchises across the state, he suddenly would be serving 6,000 coffees a day. Scale becomes prevalent, and attached to scale is the law of affection. Of course, the optimum Fastlane strategy is not buying franchises, but selling them. If my friend doesn't want to own multiple franchises, he can't break the barricade of scale. Without scale, units sold, or magnitude, high unit profit, he drives a business that will produce a weak asset value. His wealth equation becomes retarded and the law of affection quarantined, remanding him to a middle-class life work existence. With a middle-class income and a weak asset valuation, he defects to a wealth equation emblematic of the slow lane. The other barricade to affection is magnitude. Because our coffee shop owner is restricted in scale, his other option is to scale by magnitude. Unfortunately, the magnitude road is also closed. Unit profit cannot be manipulated. Every sale won't generate a profit of greater than just a few bucks, and raising prices reduces units sold. A $100,000 profit on each coffee sold is impossible. While direct access to the law of affection is a foolproof road to wealth, indirect access isn't so clear, since affection always trickles up to owners and producers, not down to employees or consumers. For example, if you work as a doctor at a private care facility, you could argue that you have magnitude and therefore you should be rich. In fact, all doctors should be rich since they have magnitude, right? Well, not exactly. The fault in this presumption is that the law of affection honors only those in control. That private healthcare facility? The facility's owner receives the full benefit of affection, not the doctors he hired. The doctors on staff aren't guaranteed access to affection because they don't control the system. Can they be rich anyway? Sure, but that decision is left to intrinsic value evaluations to be made by the owner of the system. Doctors who own practices and hire other doctors get full access to affection and get rich. Affection is always biased toward the architect of the system. How to access the law. If you want to access the law of affection, drive a road that can break through scale or magnitude while controlling its source. If you can't be the source, serve the source. Thankfully, you can easily determine which roads run parallel to the law of affection. Whatever your road, regardless of roadmap, can it directly scale to impact millions or scale? Can it tremendously impact a few or magnitude? Here are some examples. If you invent a gadget that millions can use, you have direct scale and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. If you are chosen as a finalist for American Idol, you have direct scale and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. If you build a website that serves single moms, you have direct scale and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. If you are 2 management positions away from a CFO position at a Fortune 100 company, you have indirect scale and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. If you're an attorney and take cases that involve wrongful deaths, you have indirect magnitude and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. If you create a successful retail store and franchise it to 300 entrepreneurs around the country, you have both scale and magnitude and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. If you invent a machine that detects skin cancer, you have magnitude and scale, and the law is accessible. Fast wealth is possible. Think big, but think scale or magnitude. Analyze your Fastlane equation and examine the variables. What are your maximum units sold and maximum profit per unit? What is the size of your customer pool? For example, as an author, I have scale, and with scale, the law of affection is accessible. Who is my audience? The whole English-speaking world, tens of millions of people. I'm reminded of scale anytime this book is ordered from Australia or New Zealand. My upper limit is the world. My road has no speed limit, and that grants access to the law of affection. Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions. Your total pool of customers determines your habitat. The larger the habitat, the greater the potential for wealth. A business can be a singles or a home run based business. Its strength is determined by scale, which is derived by habitat. The Fastlane wealth equation is disarmed when you violate the commandment of scale. Scale is achieved in reach, units sold, or magnitude, unit profit. The law of affection is the primary conduit to wealth, which can be roadblocked by scale, magnitude, or source. Affection consequences trickle up to owners and producers. Breaking scale or magnitude indirectly in an uncontrolled entity is not a guarantee of wealth. To gain access to affection, you need to break the barrier of scale or magnitude in an entity you control. Scale, magnitude, or source deficiencies create governors on the speed of wealth creation. Chapter 34, The Commandment of Time. I am long on ideas but short on time. I expect to live only 100 years. Thomas Edison. Break the binds that tie. The final Fastlane commandment is the commandment of time. The commandment of time requires that your business detach from your time. Can your business substitute for you and blossom into a money tree? Passive income is a Fastlane objective, and that comes from the commandment of time. Remember this: owning a business doesn't guarantee wealth or detachment from time. Some business owners are married to their businesses because their businesses violate the commandment of time. The business ostensibly becomes a job and a lifelong prison sentence. While giving up your heart and soul for a business is perfectly normal in startup, growth, and maturation stage, it isn't a prescription I'd want to endure for 40 years. The commandment of time asks, can this business be automated and systemized to operate while I'm absent? Are the margins thick enough to hire human resource seedlings? Can my operation benefit from the introduction of a money tree seedling? How can I get this business to operate exclusive of my time? Jobs are time trades for income, and yes, so are some businesses. The goal of the Fastlane is a disconnection of your time from income, even if that income isn't millions. Would you rather work 10 hours a week and earn $60,000? Or work 70 hours a week for $140,000? I take the former over the latter every time.
Ashlyn Gardner loves the arts and literature. Following the prophetic advice of gurus, she sets off to do what she loves. She opens a coffee shop featuring art of local artisans and hosts weekly literature readings. Like a new love relationship, her new business starts with a bang and is the source of excitement and eagerness. However, after 2 years, her business normalizes and the luster fades into a hardship. Ashlyn realizes that she doesn't own her business. It owns her. She's up at 4 a.m. to open and has to be there at 8 p.m. to close. The 24/7 of the business is a perpetual nag. Employees come and go, and the good ones demand pay she can't afford. Her social life dies and her boyfriend breaks up with her because she never has time. Her gym membership expires, and with it her weekly yoga class. Seeking to reclaim her time and her life, Ashlyn considers hiring a general manager. Unfortunately, hiring a GM would put her margins in the red. She won't work the business for free, and the cost of her life isn't worth the profit she makes. 3 years into the business, she closes up shop and looks to return to the ranks of employee over employer.
Ashlyn didn't fail at business. Her coffee shop was successful and earned her a modest living. Where did she fail? She failed the commandment of time, and upon entering this business, like most business owners, didn't think through it past the excitement of the newness. A money tree that never grows. A successful business isn't fun and games, especially one that violates the commandment of time. Often people get into business with the wrong idea of what it will be like. Fueled by gurus and life coaches, many are misled, believing that be your own boss or do what you love is enough motivational fire to sprout success. These would-be business owners merge onto roads that might as well trail a path through the desert. And sorry, money trees don't grow in the desert. Think about Ashlyn and her quaint coffee shop. Was she her own boss? Sure, but it wasn't enough. Ashlyn's coffee shop didn't necessarily fail, but it failed her. She was motivated by her passion for art and literature. She was motivated to be her own boss. While such dispositions are healthy, it isn't enough to change a deficient road. As a Fastlaner, your road should be traveled with the intention to make it automated. You want passivity and a living money tree. When you fail the commandment of time, the failure is caused by one of two obstacles. They are: number 1, you don't have access to the seeds because the road you started with is deficient. Number 2, the seeds won't grow in infertile soil. If your business is based on one of the money tree seedlings, it should be capable of growing a money tree. Content systems, computer systems, software systems, distribution systems, and human resource systems are all seedlings to money trees. If your business isn't based upon one, can one be added to make it passive? For Ashlyn's coffee shop, she recognized she needed the seed to a money tree, human resources, in the form of a general manager. She couldn't justify the cost, and the seed was inaccessible. Her road started deficient and wouldn't grow a planted seed. Had she ignored her finances and hired a general manager anyway, hence planting the seed, she would have discovered later that it was infertile and incapable of harvesting a money tree. The problem with most business roads is that they are infertile breeding grounds for money trees simply because they fail the commandment of time. The seeds aren't accessible, and those seeds that are accessible won't take to the soil. Chapter summary, Fastlane distinctions. A business attached to your time is a job. A business that earns income exclusive of your time satisfies the commandment of time. To satisfy the commandment of time, start with a business that uses a money tree seedling or introduce one. Chapter 35, Rapid Wealth, the Interstates. You can't live a perfect day without doing something for someone who will never be able to repay you. John Wooden. The Crossroads. If you want to get across the country, drive the fastest roads, not the slowest. Seems logical except when it comes to financial independence. Instead of driving the fastest roads, most people drive the slowest, and in some cases a road that won't even get them there. Starting a business is a big decision. Treat it with cursory interest and your business resembles a hobby. And businesses that are run like hobbies pay like hobbies. Back in my mid-20s, I dabbled in a variety of businesses with no lasting success. It was the crossroads of my life, and my latest job flavor of the month was driving limousines. Sure, I took the job because I had bills to pay, but I had other motives. Infiltration. I thought I wanted to own a limousine company. Having never been involved in the limo business, I figured I'd get a job in the business and learn the ropes. After a year in the business, my opportunity, my crossroads, arrived. The owner of the limousine company put it up for sale and offered it to me for no money down. Here was my opportunity, a chance to own a limousine service. Except there was one problem. I was torn. Just weeks earlier, I decided to move to Phoenix and was preparing to move. Now this. Should I stay? Also, after watching the current owner dredge the constant demands of the business for over a year, I realized something very important. I didn't enjoy it. The business was 24/7 with a lot of early mornings. Me? I am one cranky bastard in the morning. So I was faced with a choice that could be either treasonous or accelerative. Was this a road I wanted to take? Did I want to pass on this great no money down opportunity and forgo Phoenix? What did I do? I compiled my weighted average decision matrix, WADM, to give me clarity. Yes, I really used the stuff in this book. Obviously, Phoenix won, and I didn't buy the limousine company. But what was in that decision matrix that helped me identify the right road and the right course of action? I knew the 5 Fastlane commandments and which roads of business had Fastlane purity, and I knew the odds of implementation of both. Fastlane purity, 5 commandments. Thou shalt not invest in a needless business. Thou shalt not trade time for money. Thou shalt not operate on a limited scale. Thou shalt not relinquish control. Thou shalt not let a business startup be an event over process. When I analyzed the limousine service as a potential business, it wasn't a pure fast lane. The operation had satisfied the control and entry criterion, but it didn't have scale. It served the northwest suburbs of Chicago. The operation didn't have time detachment. I would have had to log long hours, and the margins weren't thick enough to deploy human resources. And it certainly didn't solve an unmet need. In Chicago, limo companies were a dime a dozen. To fast lane the business, it would have required a lot of time, effort, and money. Deep down, I knew I wanted to be involved in a business that was pure fast lane from the start, not one that needed to be molded. The purest fast lanes have the best wealth potential, and I knew it. When you grace the law of affection, money moves your way. What are the purest fast lane roads that possess super fast speeds? Which roads can tap into the law of affection and start fast lane? The 3 fast lane interstates. I call the most potent fast lane roads the 3 I's, or the 3 interstates, because they possess the fastest upper speed limits and meet, or can meet, all 5 fast lane commandments. The 3 interstates are: Number 1, Internet. Number 2, Innovation. Number 3, Intentional iteration. Each interstate road is an umbrella for dozens of other roads. Put all 3 together and you have hundreds of roads available for your travel. Potent fast lane number 1, the Internet. The most potent interstate is an Internet business. The Internet has made more millionaires in the last decade than any medium out there. The Internet has and is destroying old hardline industries such as travel agents, stockbrokers, newspapers, and magazines. The Internet is the shark of the fast lane. The internet is where I found my fortune, and it's the one reason why I declined my opportunity to own a limousine company. The internet is the best fast lane available because it immediately obeys the 5 commandments to the fast lane, assuming a need-based premise. It naturally scales to a worldwide audience. It systemizes to automation via computer systems. It's a medium you can control, which unfortunately most don't, and its barriers are still strong enough to prevent everyone from entry. Internet business models, or roads, fall into 7 broad categories. Number 1, subscription-based. Offer users access to data, information, software, and charge a monthly fee. Data can be leads, sales information, a proprietary database, or good old-fashioned pornography. When 10,000 people pay you $9.95 per month for your information, you're balling the fast lane. When I owned my company, I paid for many web services, all subscription-based, from data analytics, who is visiting my site, to affiliate management, who wants to offer my service. One particular company ran a website monitoring service that kept track of website uptime. On its homepage, it advertised how many clients it monitored. At the time, it said 20,000 clients served, and I was paying about $50 a month for the service. Assuming my fee was average, 20,000 times $50 equals $1 million in gross revenue per month. This is a perfect example of an internet business system in which the business is the system itself. No products, no shipping, no headaches. I'd speculate that this website enjoys margins upwards of 75% and nets in the $750,000 range per month. How quickly would you become a millionaire earning $750,000 a month? Or would you rather save $200 a month from your $45,000 a year salary? The disparaging field of play is laughable. Examples of subscription sites are RealtyTrack.com and LoopNet.com. Number 2, content-based. Content-based models are online news magazines and blogs that disseminate information to a particular niche or industry. These services provide content for free consumption and sell advertising to parties who want to reach those eyeballs. My Fastlane forum can be considered a content-based revenue model. I consider content-based revenue models the most difficult for success because entry barriers have significantly declined and its success is predicated on high traffic. Also, content systems heavily engage in affiliate programs, which is a hitchhiking structure. Number 3, lead generation. Lead generation services often provide a service to consumers while simultaneously aggregating a fragmented industry. This is what I did for the limousine business. I pooled a highly fragmented industry into one centralized source, brought consumers into the mix, and sold that consumer information to limousine companies. Lead generation is popular with fragmented industries where the industry players consist of mostly small to medium-sized businesses. Lead generation in the airline business probably wouldn't work, while lead generation for plastic surgeons would. Lead generation solves 2 needs. Number 1, the consumer's desire to save time and money, and number 2, the business owner's need to find new customers inexpensively. Number 4, social networks. Social networks are spin-offs of content systems. Instead of pooling content for eyeballs, people are pulled into groups or tribes. Facebook started off as a pool for college-age students and evolved into a generic social network for all ages. MySpace targets the high school crowd. LinkedIn hits the upwardly mobile professional. Social networks are mere aggregators of like-minded communities, from mystery novel writers to gearheads who like to rebuild engines on the weekend. Number 5, brokerage systems. Brokers bring buyers and sellers together and facilitate transactions. They are market makers for a particular industry and earn money typically on each transaction. Examples of known brokers are PayPal, Elance, Cars Direct, and Travelocity. Number 6, advertising. Similar to brokerages, advertisers merge buyers and sellers together and accept advertising fees in lieu of transaction fees. For example, I owned a website that listed limousines for sale. The site accepted advertising fees for each limousine placed for sale. I merely introduced buyers and sellers. Some services leverage both brokerage and advertising together, such as eBay. Search engines like Google and Yahoo operate both advertising and brokerage models. Number 7, e-commerce. E-commerce is the act of selling goods, services, and information over the internet. Amazon.com, CSNstores.com are all examples of large-scale e-commerce providers. However, many local stores have expanded and created scale with the e-commerce model. For example, in my backyard, I have 24 solar lights that I bought online from a small retailer in Minnesota that operates an e-commerce store. Just years ago, that store was local with no scale. Now with an e-commerce presence, they are worldwide and are selling products to retired guys in Phoenix. E-commerce can also be information. E-books are the most popular form of information distribution on the internet. When I sell my book in e-book form on the internet, I'm engaged in e-commerce. I can sell books out of my trunk by sitting in the parking lot at Arizona State University, or I can set up a website and sell books to folks in Europe. When you look at the internet as a fast lane road, it is immensely powerful when examined against our fast lane wealth equation. Wealth equals net profit plus asset value. Within the units sold variable within net income, the world becomes your upper limit when dealing on the internet. Additionally, asset value, a component of the fast lane wealth equation, is not only determined by net income, but by traffic metrics. Many websites are sold for billions and don't have